Hey, what's good, people?
Hey.
This is episode 100. That's Wendy Jones. We're going split screen today. I'm taking my own show. I ain't even going to try to fake the funk on that. But, if I give you the flow, we'll do that. But this is episode 100, people. The episode starts right now. That's always loud, man. I had to turn the volume down so it didn't blow our uncanny socks off, dude.
Your intro is so sweet. I'm so proud of you. Everything that you've turned this into it's amazing. You have crushed this thing.
Wendy, it's episode 100.
I'm honored. Seriously, I'm not joking.
Oh, man, don't make me cry, man. What the hell's the matter with you? It's a Tuesday morning. I just got back from karaoke.
God, you've got energy. It's amazing.
Yeah. Listen, since everybody who's listening to this podcast, we're going to talk about a bunch of volleyball. We're going to start with good and controversial and bad and good. But Greg Faulkner, guy out of Cal Northridge, South Bay, let's just call him a South Bay product in the sense that if he ran for mayor or Hermosa,
yeah,
I'd win by a landslide. I wouldn't even be close. If I lose, it's rigged. You would know if Greg lost this election. That election, it's rigged. And they wouldn't even care what platform he ran on. So, Greg Faulkner, you drink as much as I do. You survive. I don't. You Tower 12, right? Throws up a couple of times and plays Manhattan 6-man on Friday and then plays Smackfest on Saturday. Greg Faulkner, this is my camera. You are ridiculous. Been watching some Olympics, huh?
Oh my gosh. I can't get anything else done. That's all I've been doing. Beach volleyball, indoor volleyball, swimming, track and field. I can't get enough.
It's insane.
No, it is. And obviously beach volleyball being my favorite, but those others are a close second because the stories with all of these athletes are so incredible.
Yeah.
So incredible.
Well, I think it's been kind of an American bummer. Maybe because one, they had higher expectations of where we thought our people could go. Well, we could talk about indoor and outdoor, or they didn't have high expectations, but somewhere before the Olympics, certain players kind of teased us. What they did? They turned us into Dallas Cowboy fans, right? Like what happened? Like Clayton Sponsor they won a 4-star, then won another one, and just like Dallas wins 2 in a row. They're nauseating, annoying fan base. Yeah, I said it. Their nauseating, annoying fan base would be like, we could go to the Super Bowl. We can go all the way. And I got honey-dicked. I got hoodwinked, and I'm telling you, I was one of those people that I was like, wait, how cool would that be if they played April and Alex in the finals? At the end of the day, they were who we thought they were in the beginning. They were good enough to go to the Olympics. They were a coin toss between Kerry and Brooke.
Yeah.
I wanted Kerry and Brooke to go, but there is no disputed debate on the merit. As far as meritocracy is concerned, there's no dispute on them earning this spot in the Olympics.
For sure. And in such a weird year. I mean, when you talk about no one could imagine the Olympics being postponed for a year, and what that does to an aging athlete. Which my hat's off to Kerry Walsh Jennings, best player to ever play the game, and she still looked amazing at the end. But the way that year broke down, and every day makes a difference, and every point made a difference, and right there at the end, that clutch up by Clayton Sponsor it happened, and they were playing great volleyball.
Yeah,
they looked really good. The talent level in this Olympics is just so off the hook that it comes down. It's a game of consistency that comes down to a couple of plays.
Yeah, they went straight Jakaris, man. I was talking about Game of Thrones. I had Brian McDermott, just like you, repeat offender on the show, multiple time guest. You got to meet him. He's awesome. Where they're like, she says Jakaris, and then the dragons just start burning up everything around them, and that's what it looked like. They went straight dragon ladies.
Yep.
On those 2 4-stars, and But something at the end told me to slow my roll when I saw them. They played the Latvians, I think, in the quarterfinals in Sochi, and Latvians won 2-0, but the second set was like 21-14. So they did show me that the wheels can come off. Well, I guess just like every other good team, right?
Sure,
like
absolutely.
You've seen April and Alex get play the Aussies.
And you don't know where
and
it
like
came
for
from.
one set,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, get whooped on.
Yeah.
Kristen Nelson and Cloth, who we'll talk about later. God, that's the future, and the future looks good.
And the best teams, what I love to watch is how fast the best teams make adjustments so quickly.
Yeah.
And that's, at the level of the game that we're watching, like I'm trying to keep up, but when you see those adjustments get made, the quicker they can make those adjustments, the better off they are. And sometimes they make them and sometimes they don't make them quick enough.
So we got like a good hot button topic to talk about. And the cool thing, I love hot button topics on our podcast because it allows us to jump in and we steer it as much as we can. But I promise my friends, for those of y'all watching, I got to, the first time you come in this podcast, dude, shut up, let her talk. So there's going to be definitely more of that. But this definitely falls within our wheelhouse that just allows us the autonomy to say as much or little as we want. So I'm going to just put up the picture. And for the fans listening at home and on your audio, sorry about that, but I'm going to show a picture of a ball that's been a hot button topic on whether a ball was in or out. It was Clays and Sponsel against Brandy Wilkerson and Heather Bansley. And it was set 3. They trailed by 1. It was 11-12. So the original call was out, right? They gave him 13-11. There was a replay. In fact, there was a replay.
There was a replay, then they called it in. Wait,
Yeah.
what? Right? And
Well,
then,
here's what really happened. The replay people in the booth confirmed that it was out. But the operator, like the person who types in and out,
that's right.
typed in.
In.
So now the host got confused, the color commentary, Marlo, whatever. Like, you can't challenge a challenge and this and that and whatever. You can't do that. And then all of a sudden, everyone started delving into their rule book, which I will give all of you an education later, all right? Talking to Jeff Alzina, talking to some people who not only know FIVB rules, but have been in the Olympics and you probably never seen. It's still a first-time situation, right? So,
Yeah.
But let's talk about the fun part first. Everybody take a look at this. Everybody watching, is that ball in or is that ball out? So for the people watching, again, audio, sorry, video, the left side is the outside of the back line and the right side is in court. So for me, what I look at, the first thing you look at is to see if the line jumped, right? 50% of the people, my social media blew up. Like, there's like 215 comments. It was ridiculous. And half the people, about half, said in.
Really?
About half said out.
Okay.
In my own household, my girl, she's a volleyballer. We don't.
Yeah.
She thinks it's in. I think it's out. So it's one of those things where I got it up on the podcast, and I hate to really. I'm not trying to milk this horse, right? I'm not trying to beat this horse to the ground, but I just want to know what everybody thinks. It's a pretty interesting spot. Now, in regular volleyball, like in a real volleyball game, you want to see if the line jumps. Because if the line moves, it's in. That's the end of discussion. Because that means, regardless of the ball mark, if the line's higher in the sand or whatever, it's any part of the line, the rule says, including the outside part of the line, it's in. And I guess absent of the replay system, you look for a ball mark. Right?
Yeah.
Now, this thing probably left a ball mark that might have suggested it's in. Right? But maybe not, because if you look at the Mikasa ball, and if you look at how when you miss a serve, how it kind of floats up, not floats upward, but it doesn't have that same crash as a topspin serve has. It kind of does like a rock skip. I don't know. I actually didn't.
Yeah, it's a lot smoother. The ball mark's going to be a lot. Flatter. But I saw it and I was heartbroken, but I thought it was out.
You thought it was out?
I did.
I did too.
Yeah.
Dude, I did too. There's no really, there is a right or wrong answer or whatever, but.
No, at the level I play, that point gets replayed. we're like, I don't know, it's too close to call. Let's replay it. It's not going to happen at the Olympics.
Yeah.
But I
And
mean,
honestly,
it's that
if
close.
there was any kind of compression,
yeah.
that ball would be in.
Yeah.
I saw the live skip because everyone's like, "Oh, you just chose a picture." I'm like, I had to choose a picture, and that's as good a picture as as a freeze frame as you're gonna get. But the actual live shot, you didn't see a compression. That's why, and me, I don't believe in like the sand kicking up the line, making it jump. No, if the line jumps, the line jumps. Wendy, can you appreciate how hard that ball has to hit the sand for the sand to kick it up and make the line jump up? That's why FIVB refs don't do a sand kick up rule. They don't. Maybe where we play pickup and maybe this South Bay myth. This argument you see in fours games when everybody's drinking too much. No, but Now let's talk about something else. The rule on challenging a challenge. The rule there's a rule on the challenge system. Rule 28 basically says the other team can't initiate a challenge once they already did, but they said the opposing team can make them take a second look. So that's with Rule 28, basically.
Okay.
And I've been looking for it all day, and Jeff Alzina put it up. But then someone told Jeff Alzina Rule 33 says that once a challenge is in, it cannot be appealed. So Jeff's like, cool, you sold me on that. And I said, wait, not so fast. Because the term appeal and challenge are not the same thing. Appeal falls under the bounds of protest. And under the rules of volleyball, one of the calls, the most sacrosanct call that cannot be protested or appealed is in and out. So of course that's so in consistency with the old rules before the replay system, in and out cannot be challenged. Anyway, so it's been this repeated narrative. Rule 33 supersedes 28, but not really. Not in the if you look at the language. That's just my opinion. Can we get a real person to decipher that? Yeah, you got two real people here, right? I've been coaching 20 fucking years. Volleyball's been your life. You have a son at Stanford who's a starting outside. You have a daughter at TCU who's playing beach volleyball for their NCAA team. So I think it's for two people to say we are speaking within our wheelhouse is justified.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sure. By the way, I'll kiss my ass. How about that? Kiss my ass if you think it's not my place to talk about that. How about that? This is episode 100. That's right.
Yeah.
So, so that was the rules thing. I'm going to give you the floor on this one. How do you feel about me, and I talked to Dane a lot off the record. I'm obligated not to repeat conversations. Dane's out there. How do you feel about not the call, but what happens after the call?
I mean, I think it's an amazing. What I was watching was, the mental fortitude of the moment for those athletes that are sitting there wondering, what the score is going to be at the end of that call. And I immediately went to watching when it went down the way it did, and Clays and Sponsa lost the point. I went to watch how are they going to handle this moment, and when I saw the overpass, my heart just broke. I was just like, oh God! I mean, to let go of that in the moment, I cannot imagine. And I agree with you. We do get to sit and talk about this because this is the world stage, and that's what happens when you play on the world stage. People are going to talk about how you handle and how you play. But I can't imagine, what it's like to try to let go of that in that moment on that world stage. But when she overpassed that ball, it broke my heart because I knew in that moment, I was like, we didn't move on, and that's the lesson. It's like, how quick can the answer back was as loud as the call, you know what I mean? So it was a tough one. It was a really tough one.
It was heartbreaking.
It was an absolute heartbreaker.
Yeah, look, we're both USA people.
For sure.
We bleed in and out of the sport where, we're not talking about politics like America first and this and that, but no, we're both patriots. We're both. And
that's the great thing about the Olympics is that for so long we've been stuck in this political world that there's just so much angst, and the Olympics come around and you just want to feel the pure joy of the sport and be proud of your country and proud of the athletes that are out there, and that's why we pull for our teams, right? And then the next level out is that you see the talent in the other countries in those stories, and it feels like the whole world is pulling for each other, and it's just the most awesome feeling. That's the great thing about the Olympics. So I was, you
find yourself cheering for individual players too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, who's not cheering for Tina?
Oh my God! Exactly. Yeah.
And by the way, Tina's still in it as of this episode. She's in the semifinals.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. She handled some pressure this morning. Handled some serious pressure. They were going after her, and she absolutely closed out. Yeah.
Well, I thought she kind of got exposed by Clays and Sponsel. When they were up in pool play 11-9, and Clays and Sponsel scored 6 straight points. Yeah. So
and then I watched that for the rest of the times I've watched the next matches, and I'm like, but since then, I mean, she's been handling the pressure beautifully, and God, they've played some pretty flawless volleyball.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how she responded, and she's such a likable person.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. She's a smoke show too. Like she, as I said before, she came on a podcast, and my friend was like, "Dude," he's like, "I saw your podcast with Tina," and I'm like, "Yeah, you like what she said about like being a USC and this and that." He's like, "No, I didn't hear her. I didn't hear, dude. I didn't hear a freaking word she said. I saw your podcast." And I'm like, this girl's cute like that. Yeah. She got it like that. So big up to Tina for actually, picking up the phone saying yes. There was also a part of it that probably like her godfather, oldest Lucy's, is my volleyball mentor. He taught me how to coach indoor volleyball. He went to UCLA for wrestling, and he wound up playing on that U.S. team, but he didn't play. He was a setter, but you're on a team where like Karch and Sinjin are running a 6-2. Nobody even remembers you're on that team, but he's one of these crush it alpha males, and he's very, very honest. I love his style of you're either good enough or you're not. Is like, man, that's my kind of guy.
I've been working on trying to fix
let's do this.
Yeah.
I want to show what Tina looks like for everybody.
He stood for quite.
Trying to catch a freeze frame.
She looks like a thoroughbred racehorse out on that court.
Doesn't she?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, half horse.
Oh my gosh. She's an athlete, no doubt.
No, good player, man. I mean, and she's still got a year to go.
And so is her partner, by the way, Anna.
Oh, Anastasia, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Anna's nice.
This morning, like, she just connected on every level.
Well, when her side out game comes and when the set
solid.
Consistency comes, you got to test somebody, and you got to serve Tina, and you also have to serve Tina tough, because if you serve Tina a lollipop, you're also going to get licked. So, yeah, man. And she's still got another year left.
Yeah. And they went 3 with a tough Canadian team this morning. Yeah. I mean, Brandy and Heather, they balled out too. I mean, it was a tough match. There was no, it was, I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was
nice.
Really good.
Do you see that?
Well, who's that?
LT. It says, hey, Wendy, I'm available to take your court the after Atlanta AVP, as I will be in Hermosa.
Oh, very nice. I was so honored that I met LT one time and he raked my court for me. Oh, he said rake.
Yeah. There it is.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, LT doing some really, really good things in Florida.
Yeah.
Got
I want to come down to Florida.
Yeah, I think
there's some great stuff going on down there.
But
I keep meeting awesome people from Florida.
But dude, that's the dream job.
Yeah.
If you get to coach juniors and pros, that's it, because you're not bound by all these rules. I moved to California to coach NCAA. I don't want to, dude. I got what I want. I didn't even want what I got. I'm like, I don't want to do this college thing. All these damn rules. Who you're allowed to talk to and all this and that.
So true.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, college is the one thing where, as far as control is concerned, the coaches are the ones that have the most control. And pros and juniors, the coaches have the least control. Pros, you run. Listen, guys, people listening at home. Pros are run by the players. You have to, they're paying you to help them win. And if you run a stricter protocol, of course, you have more control. But really, it's about catering to what they want and make them better versions of themselves, right? Yeah. Like in a perfect world, I mean, I'd like to roll up on Phil and say, you need to change your steps. He ain't doing that. He's a goofy foot, but he ain't doing that. So,
but what I love about, and I've listened to you talk about coaching pros before, and when someone has a set of eyes like you really notice things in the game that maybe when you're in the game, you don't see it as fast. And these guys, because I've seen you, and you don't overreach when you coach pros because you know they know what they're doing. But that extra set of eyes that you can provide that quick switch or maybe make this adjustment a little quicker than they would realize how to make it. I mean, that's where that level of coaching, I think, is just amazing to watch.
Yeah. And I really think everybody should have that. And I think professionals, because I always tell these, especially young professionals, get a coach. And don't sweat the star power bullshit, right?
Totally.
Like a lot of people didn't even know who LT was until the masterful job he did with Eric Baranek and Bill Kolinsky, which he as a coach takes no credit for, of course.
Which I had no idea he was behind that because that was honestly my favorite Manhattan Beach. I followed them around that tournament, watching their matches because it kept getting better and better and better.
Well,
I was like, what the heck is going on
He'll be the first
on
to
that
tell you.
outside court?
Yeah,
and I didn't know LT was behind that.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite volleyball memories, was watching those two in Manhattan Beach.
God, he'll be the first to tell you I was following him around too, because I was coaching Rob, Diorora, and McLean.
Yeah.
Third round qualifier, I was there. Fourth round, I got dropped by Jake and Earl. Because Arturo was there. We both showed up at the same time. So I was there for that, but I was also Rafu's coach too. So for 3 matches in a row, the third round qualifier, fourth round qualifier, they get into the draw. Then they got to play Rafu and Ed.
Yep.
So there's 3 times in a row they had to see my face. And Erica's like, dude, he says, you're my friend, but I don't want to fucking see you. So I don't want to see you no more. So, but talk about a great journey, huh? Out of the how many contenders bracket games do you have to win to get to the semifinals? That's ridiculous.
It's a lot.
It's like, contenders, you have to win probably 9 to win the whole thing. So that means they won 7. Or let's just call it 6. Let's be conservative and call it 6. Yeah. And good teams, right? Ricardo and Rosie at the time, 2-0. Case Beer and Shock, 2-0. Brunner and Hayden, who made the Hawaii AVP finals, 2-0. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. But that's who LT is. But I think the point we were trying to make was you just need a coach whose volleyball IQ is A, high enough. 2, for sure don't fucking sweat their playing pedigree. Like, every great player is not going to have a coach who is a better player than them, right? Lockheed never has and never will be a better beach player than Phil and Nick, right? Rich Lamborn was a pure indoor player pretty much, and maybe a couple of years removed from the beach, picks up Jake and Taylor. We're not even going to talk about the comparison of beach experience when it comes to Jay Gilbert Taylor compared to him, but dude's a smart guy. Yep. Sharp as attack, runs a tight ship, and like you said, fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Being able to see.
Yeah. And being able to let go of your ego and know that that person's there to help you. They're not there to make you look, think about it. They're there to make you look better. Their whole job is to make you look better. So why don't you take something off your plate and, maybe you get into flow a little more because you're not thinking about 10,000 things and you have another set of eyes that can just help you make the adjustment.
Did you just say let go of your ego? All of the guys out there, they're like, you son of a bitch. Jeff Samuels is texting me, but if he's watching the live version, he knows I'm busy. Jeff Samuels is a bug out right now. I'll text him later.
All right. Well, I would love to give him a shout out for that. This is totally off topic, but when you posted his karaoke on your Facebook, might have been the most I've smiled in a long time.
Did you know? Who knew that Jeff had it in?
Who knew? He picked a country song. I'm so bummed that I didn't go out with you that night on your birthday. When you posted that, I was like, are you kidding me?
He's amazing. You know what?
That was
to
amazing.
Hell with that. We calling him back. Yo, Jeff, we live on the podcast right now.
Oh, hey.
I got Wendy Jones, episode 100, so I'm going to have to call you back, but you're on speakerphone right now, so you're on the podcast again.
I was giving you a shout out for that Facebook post that Jason put up for the Good Directions karaoke. That was so legit.
Thank you.
And this boy went straight country on us.
It
this
was
brother
awesome.
From Flint, Michigan.
If there's two
country.
things that I like in life, it's volleyball and country music. So that post just made my day.
Knew it would turn some heads. People don't know my country repertoire is deep.
Oh my gosh, I'd love to hear it.
All right, guys, you guys have fun.
All right.
I'll you later, Jay.
All right, later.
That was awesome.
Is that how we do? Just calling people on the podcast. Who else we got? Nah, Dane's not picking up. He's overseas.
Yeah, he's otherwise detained.
Now, jumping back on this thing before we get off.
Yeah.
Controversial call.
Well,
in or out.
the game didn't come down to that one call.
No.
And,
I'm
no game,
I'm glad
no
it
game
didn't.
ever does.
No,
for
but
the
I'm
most
glad
part.
it didn't. I'm glad it wasn't 13 up.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, oh, all the plays that led to that decided, and I'm like, that's not entirely true. When you have two teams that are evenly matched, and you have your share of mistakes because that's evenly matched, and you have a share of great plays because that's what being evenly matched is. You make the same amount of mistakes as you do good plays, right? And it comes down to something where a ref has to decide it. Then that does decide the game. But with that being said, this is 11-12, and it takes some momentum away, but you got a timeout. Sarah Sponsor, what she did unwittingly or not, arguing with the referee, getting a yellow card, bought her some more time. You know what I'm saying? And a yellow card, everyone's like, oh, yellow card, come on, yellow cards cost you nothing.
Right.
Look,
just move on.
You just get chewed out. Right,
Yeah.
I got you. You got chewed out before I got you. Right? You just. It's like if you're in the military, you're not gonna get Article 15. You're just gonna get chewed out. It costs nothing. There's no paperwork. It doesn't cost her a point.
No.
And in fact, it bought her some more time. So, to me, I agree with you because it's not what happened. It's what you do the next play. It's what happens the next play. Yeah. And this one, they had a next play blunder and they had a final play blunder. There was an option. With Brandy, which is kind of like a luff balloon that you didn't need to be Sarah Sponsor to cover, And for the people like, oh, it's easy for you to sit there on the microphone and say that, kiss my ass. That's okay. I'm gonna say it again. So because we're gonna get on that too. But Dane came on my podcast, and bear with me. Here I am talking too much again.
No,
right?
you're fine.
For those of you listening, I take you back to the Olympics in 2000. Dane and Eric Fenoy, who all the American population concedes wasn't even the best team we sent to the Olympics, all right? They were just happy to be in the quarters, and Dane told me that on the podcast. Portugal, side-out game, takes an hour to get to 10 up. Fenoy hits a ball wide. Then they call timeout, and then they come back from the timeout, and the referee gives them a red card, not a yellow. So now a red card's a point. So now, after all of that work to get to 10 up, you're not just down by 1, you're down by 2. So
the red card was because they
took
too long?
Yeah, I think the ref claimed he warned them before, and they had this reputation of taking too long to get back on. But you got to understand, that's the semifinals, and the ref should have. The ref abused his power, in my opinion. Okay. He could have given him a yellow, and discretion. Here we go. So what happens is they get the ball back. Dane serves position 1 ace. He wrists away ace position 4. Fenoy gets a block, so now they're up by 13-12. They switch. Dane gets a poke dig off a jumbo attempt, transition, and then the last point of the game, ace right down the middle, little hubby wave, and I mean clean. Why am I saying this story, and why am I talking more than Wendy right now? The moral of the story is, if they lost because of that red card, half of America, they got robbed and this and that, and they would have understood. But they chose to go the other way. In fact, with that kind of champ shit, that kind of winner's mentality, they probably don't get 5 points in a row if it wasn't for that red card. So with respect to Sarah Sponsor and Kelly Clays, they showed me that they're good and they have these spurts. But when it comes to that champ shit, they're not there yet. Sorry. And I am, for those that think it's not my place to say that, I'm making it my place to see that. How do I make it my place to say that? Years and years of experience. I've been coaching this game for 21 years. I've been commentating for like 6. I was an active player, indoor, and some grass and some beach for 30. And there are levels where you're speaking out of turn, and there are levels where you're speaking appropriately to your experience. And I believe, and for the people that know me, know that I'm speaking from this place where I have every right to say that. They're not on that champ shit.
Yeah, I hear you. I think they showed, for every time that one of those commentators would throw out their age and, being the youngest beach volleyball Olympians that have ever been there for America, it's a moment, but as heartbreaking as it was, it's a moment in that career that is not even close to over.
Right.
Well, I mean,
But I mean,
So
aren't
much
we the
chance.
first ones to say that they deserve to be there?
Oh,
Aren't we the
absolutely.
first ones to say they earned their
Absolutely.
spot as far as merits? I mean, meritocracy is a funny word when it comes to, like how the U.S. indoor team picks their players, right? It's not like they had some kind of point system that allowed them, that got them in. At
Yeah.
least Sarah Sponsel and Kelly Clays, come on. There was a point system.
Yeah.
And they
And
bossed it at the end with
Yeah.
two whatever.
when it mattered.
Yeah, and that's so at the same time, if we can give them that, if we have enough, if it's our place to praise them, based on our experience and what we see and what they did, they have that works both ways. I'm not saying nothing about Sarah Sponsel's mom, right? This isn't. I attack volleyball players with volleyball, and. All what they showed me, they'll be back next Olympics, right? If they stay together, is there any doubt in your mind they'll be back next Olympics? No doubt in my mind.
No.
Look, I'm not my feelings aren't hurt, but they did play well enough to tease us.
Oh, for
where
sure.
we could have this pipe dream of
Yeah.
watching them play April and Alex for the goal, which would have been,
Yeah.
well, not extraordinary, but just like I'd say it like the good old days, right? Kessie
Yeah.
and Ross
Right,
against Misty and Carrie,
Misty and
right?
Carrie.
Karch and Steffes against Dodd and Whitmarsh. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the first time we had an All-American beach volleyball thing,
Yeah.
but big up to them, and it was something for the intensities of this podcast, because
Yeah.
we have to talk about things sometimes that are uncomfortable. And Wendy,
Yeah.
hey, this ain't on her. I'm carrying the water on this one. So if you have a problem with what I said, come see me. If you disagree, then let's talk about the issue. If you want to talk about my experience and make it about something else other than what I said, then I'm not going to have that discussion with you. But if you want to keep it on topic, and if you have some experience where you want to speak on this or more experience or whatever, let's have this conversation if you disagree with me on that. But as long as we have the conversation where we attack the issue with the issue itself, I'm attacking volleyball with volleyball. All right. That's well, some people say it's personal, because saying that they're not a champion, that's a personal attack. It's not. You just know one when you the story I just told you. So it says that you know one when you see one.
But you know what? Like, even champions.
Comment section's left.
Always.
Comment section's gone. They ain't saying nothing. Sorry.
Every champion has that moment where you can remember looking in their face. I watched it in Sarah Pavin this morning, and I was like, oh shoot. She was on the ropes. She was looking tight. She was looking tired. And my heart is breaking because I'm watching this number one seed, and amazing. I love watching them play. But those Australians were taking him to task.
Yes.
Okay. That moment in their eyes, I saw it in Sarah and Kelly the other day, when that look comes, and you saw it in Carrie when she was passing right side in that match.
Ooh,
like
semifinals
you
against
see
Barbara
it,
and Agatha, yeah.
And you don't have to have been in that moment, because you know this is a game of consistency. You don't have to have been in that moment. You just, as an athlete at any level, you can recognize that little crumble in confidence, that little bit of tightness. And at that level, in that moment,
it sticks out more than it does than
exactly.
intermediate players.
There's no room for error. So my hat is off to all these athletes, because they are performing in the most intense pressure-filled situations that you can ever imagine. And they do it with grace. When they lose, they're heartbroken, and you don't see people out there throwing fits. And, they're going to fight for their point in the moment. And then look at, Try and Jake showing up last night, to cheer for April and Alex. Like,
what a honeymoon, huh?
seriously.
Yeah.
And watching that one yesterday morning, we haven't even touched that match.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Wendy, look,
I have gotten nothing done in the last however many days, because this has been such a fun ride.
Well, right now we can close the door on Sponsel and Clays, because we said everything we needed to say. But the whole championship mentality thing is a continued conversation.
Yeah.
Champions they are ice in a cold world.
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? There's going to be a situation where no matter what the call is, or no matter what happens, either you do or you do not. You want to know, guys? You want to know what championship mentality is, and I've won a championship in Germany as an indoor player. So not the Olympics, but you're getting paid to play. You're right. You someone thinks you're good enough to play the sport where you don't have to wait tables at night. You know that was a boom period, but in championship games, when the tensions get high and butt cheeks get tight, right? Either at the end of the day, the thing that makes someone a champion is at the end of the day, they remember that you did or you did not. So, and that's a cold thing to say because we're not talking about someone doing the best they can. Everyone out there is doing the best they can.
For sure.
It's cold. It's cold because no one's talking about how bad someone wants it, right? Just because this team wants it. Oh, that means, my least favorite thing is like, it's got, God, give me the strength to win this game. The team believes in God too. I mean, God's got better things to do. Okay, so and I'm a Jesus freak, but but sports, God's got better things to do. There's 4 people that believe in God on that team. Yeah. But at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, when everybody wants it, when everyone deserves it, Sponsor and Clays deserve it. They've been in that opportunity. They deserve it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, and this is gonna sound cold, but you gotta eat this. Either you do. Or you do not. There is no try. There is no excuse. Yeah. There is no excuse. And we can go all day on examples of how people got screwed because of calls or people chose to go another way in spite of calls. Right. And what they showed us, look, this isn't attacking them personally, but what we see with our eyes and what we've seen in our experience, decades. Sure. There's probably 50 years of experience between the both of us. Yeah. 55 years of experience between the both of us. Ridiculous. Okay. What we've seen shows you either did or you did not. They did not. But I hope they do next time.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So try and Jake.
From the first. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's Sean. Yep. Agreed. Trust your coaches and the process.
Yep. Trust your coaches and the process. Yep. Sean Ledig, my man. Yeah. You too. Come see me, man. I make your game better.
Try and Jake from the first game out. And obviously the story that comes before with Taylor is another heartbreaker from this crazy year and a half that we've been through. But when those two took the court that first morning, we were in Atlantic City, and I was like, no, I got to stay back and watch this game. I got to see how this goes down. And it was just chills after chills watching them be like, okay, 2 practices, and we're out here just answering back on the world stage like nobody's business. Like it was so fun to watch. And
it just was. Dude.
I didn't catch every match, but every one that I saw up till, the heartbreaker yesterday they're just so inspiring. With both of their stories, you've got the oldest beach volleyball athlete, cancer survivor. You've got Tri's story with coming through autoimmune, the trials he's been through with that. I mean, that story had everything to it, and they showed up like champions and they competed like champions. And watching Tri defend and all, just go from split blocking to being that defender, and some of the ups that he had and that serve, and just it was flawless.
It was. I'm actually doing a poll right now, a live poll. Who wins the gold for women's beach? I put April and Alex. I'll put Aussies.
They're looking good.
I'll put right in one. Right in option. The bit rate sucks on the live stream, but I don't care about the live. I mean, live stream is more about fan interaction than it is about res. I mean, the replay is going to look really good on this. So, you said try and get. It is, you know what I call it? I call it the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, Karch said that in the beginning.
You have this new girlfriend, right? You got this little conversation going. Oh, I got that in common too. Wait, you like dark chocolate? Me too. Cool. Mayonnaise on a sandwich. Oh my God, that's gross. You too? Oh, it's cool. Let's meet up tomorrow. Let's go hiking. Let's pepper. Let's pepper together. Let's go watch it. Let's go to an indoor game. So during this phase where there's that tingly feeling where you look at her and she looks at you and it's like, damn, you feel that? And that's, to me, that's what I'm gonna turn this down. That's what Try and Gibb had. They had this really cool honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And
that's
everything
great.
goes right. And honestly, even in the loss to Qatar but at the end of the pool, didn't really phase that. That didn't end the honeymoon. That was that they were like, hey, you know what? It's what you do in the playoffs.
They're such grinders. And you want to talk about mental stability and fortitude. Like, you can see it. You know, I mean, the way Try goes back to the service line and just rips that ball, like, and, you know, scored a bunch of points with that serve. And then when one goes out. But on average, he's killing it.
Right.
And he doesn't go, you don't see any fear in the way they play.
No, they're flash bang plays.
Yeah.
The two fastest ways to score a point in volleyball indoor and the beach is the serve and the block. So you got two guys that are blockers, and you got to try with this constant pressure getting these aces, and then you lose your court vision a little bit, and Jake makes you pay at the block. He's got a great reach in, particularly with his right arm. Sometimes he's blocking cross, but then he'll just snatch one and bring it back if you try to wrist away line right side. Really, really good with that. So in many ways, people might make the leap like, oh my God, this is a better team than Jake and Taylor is. But I'm like, wait, not so fast, right? There are plays where if you get a dig, there are these guys I call transition kings and transition queens. I bring your attention to Ahmed from Qatar. When he gets a dig and you just pump it up somewhere in the net, that dude's a transition king. Yeah. Lupo, has these streaks like that. And Taylor Crabb is very much like that. And that's what I thought that they were missing. Sometimes they get a dig. I've seen them get series where they've gotten 3 digs and had to give up 2 down balls and a free. Yeah. And you can't, at this level, you're going to give someone three opportunities to get a point. They're going to burn your ass. Where Taylor, he's so good. He's just like some plays is like, hey, it's fast break volleyball, no guts, no glory. This one I'm gonna swing at. Yeah. This one I'll read a progression and this and that. So his dig and transition game was better. Now, what I liked better about Try and Gibb is that with Taylor and Jake, you have a decision to make who you want to serve. Right? With Try and Gibb, the decision's already made. You're not gonna serve Try. Yeah. You're gonna serve Gibb. You just are. Tries. He's got such a nice hold in his platform. Yeah. Any one of us, okay? This is where I'm a schmuck from Brooklyn. I could try about that ball because the ball waits for me to get there. He's got that nice little indoor hold at the end, that little half-second hard wall, padded wall thing we call. Yeah. And we knew Jake was going to get all the serves. Yeah. And if you have a team like that where Jake's getting all the serves, that's a win too. Yeah. So that's where I thought they might have been better. But Taylor and Jake, there's nothing like that transition game. There's nothing like that chemistry that they're familiar with. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? That's going to be a new honeymoon when they get back together, right? They're probably going to do the stops together, the tour together, I hope. Okay. Think about it. It's like you break up with your girlfriend, right? And then you're out there and you test the market, and then that relationship you thought was going to be good kind of ends, and then you kind of come back at your girlfriend, boyfriend. They come back at each other on a different level, and it feels fresh and new again. So it's it's going to be like that again. It's going to be a second honeymoon for them.
No, that'll be fun to watch. Yeah, but I couldn't have been more impressed with the way that they all handled that challenge, and to see that the way that I was sad to see them go out yesterday. I was. Probably my biggest heartbreak of everything I've watched, because I really thought they were going to pull that one off.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. I don't know what the strategy was switching to the outside with instead of Tola, whatever.
Yeah.
He's
they got a great team. Yeah. I mean, they were a great team.
Well, I guess when they make adjustments, you got to make adjustments too. So, and I really thought maybe at one point they were just serving aggressively to certain spots and not a particular player. And if a player is going to hog the middle, when it's the other guy's middle, maybe I don't know. I mean, Again, champ stuff. At this level, it's the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's the round of 16, if
But
not
they
the
had
quarterfinals.
such a
Either
different...
you do or you do not.
Yeah, and they had they had such a different road. You know what I mean? I mean, they showed up, they answered the call. Like, if Try did, Jake did, to me, they were mental giants. Obviously, physical specimens, but like, it was a great run. I would have liked to seen it go further.
Yep, me too.
Yeah.
Look, and for again the whole thing where there are certain professionals who are saying that it's really easy to criticize these people who have been playing all these years or whatever, and and they're right in the sense that some of the worst criticism comes from these people who've never done anything competitive in their freaking lives, and on a heightened level, I co-sign and I do agree with them. But for those pros, I think there is a certain level of criticism that's righteous. Like I don't think you need to be an Olympic coach or player for indoor to say if you serve out 14 times, you're probably going to lose. Like the indoor men's team.
Yeah.
There's a certain level that you can coach as a high school or player or college or whatever that certain teams are so good they can serve out 14 times and still win.
Yeah.
And there's a whatever. So you don't. I think some of these guys who are like, you're not us, you're not in our position, try lacing my boots. Sometimes you got to call bullshit on that too. And God, this is one of them podcasts. So I'm just throwing myself out there. And I make it sound like it's comfortable because I have a good flow. I'm not comfortable talking about this because I did play at a very, very high level, and I did, and I continue to coach people at those levels. And I have a great association and conversation with people who have never played at that level. Yeah. So if there's anyone that has the right to opine on this, it's you and me.
Yeah.
So, saying someone doesn't have any heart, saying they choke, saying they quit out there, that's more personal than professional. And I thought I skirted that a little bit with Sponsel and Clays, and I hate to bring that back, but I don't think I crossed that line.
No, there's no lack of
But
heart.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's where some people are out of line.
Yeah.
You calling someone a quitter and come on, what the fuck have you done your whole life? So I get that with them, but on a certain level, when someone who doesn't play the game at their level saying you got to serve in,
true.
What we call that in New York is obvious as obvious. All right, maybe you should say, hey, thank you, Captain Obvious, but you shouldn't say that they shouldn't say that.
No, because that will be the first comment from anybody who goes to watch any level of volleyball game. I mean, regardless of how much experience you have, the novice volleyball fan will walk in and go, "Why do they keep serving out?" Yeah, and until you have been there and you see the levels of the game and you know that fine line between, okay, if you're going to get an ace and then you're going to miss one, is it worth it? You know what I mean? Like the tougher serves are harder to keep in. Right?
Well, that's called pressure.
Exactly.
But that's why
you have to put that pressure on them.
Which is why
at this level you can't serve.
But which is why they're so sensitive about it.
Right.
Someone is asking you to serve tough and not miss.
Yeah.
That's called
pressure.
So the reason why I think some of these volleyball players and second to only basketball players as far as being sensitive cats is concerned, the reason why they take offense to that is they might be suggesting that person's suggesting you can't take the pressure, because they're taking this simple thing and they're measuring on their level.
Right.
They're trying to say I'm choking under the pressure, and they're really not saying that. They're just probably saying if you miss 14 times,
you're probably not going to win.
Not that team.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just transferred from outdoor beach to the indoor men's team.
Yeah.
They're good. Look, they're good. I'm still mad that they still to this day, all these Olympics from the 70s or whatever, they've yet to have an African American player on any of their 12-man rosters for the Olympics. They'll carry a Dexter Rogers or a Patch. Patch has been as close to a black man as you're going to see on that team, right? Which I don't know his ethnicity. I'm teasing because that's what mixed people like. Who I'm black and I'm white. That's what we do. We tease everybody because we grew up being teased by everybody. So this is just what we do. Still don't have an African American on that team, but besides that, they're good. But if they don't miss 14 times, I don't know. Maybe that goes to 5, or maybe Argentina's more for real than people think.
Yeah, they looked good. Yeah. I'm watching those serves. Oh my God.
They beat Italy in 5.
Yeah.
They're now in the semifinals.
That's incredible.
for the first time since 1988, maybe. Yeah, maybe 88.
Yeah, and see,
Yeah.
I followed the beach game a lot closer, but when I watched that game the other night, I was like, yeah, they're Argentinian. They're legit. That was a great game, and we didn't
Yeah.
make the adjustments that we needed to make to push it, to 5. But
It is my opinion that they made a decision to spread their block out when Argentina was in system. We've seen so many. If you look at some of the replays, we've seen so many replays where the middle was just out there by him. There wasn't an outside blocker within 10 feet of him, probably because Barral thought like our middles have some size. We did have some size
Right.
over Argentina. Argentina used timing and precision to compensate for their lack of height in the middle. And when you're in system, you got to give up something, right? Most teams, in Germany, we call it loose goose. We go shoulder width, like we just stick our arm out like this.
right.
And if I could touch your shoulder, that's all the space I need to do one step in and like step in. Because
Close.
some of these guys are running a slower one.
Right.
So you can easily do step in, block, step, block. And it also leaves the middle blocker to step out. Instead of stepping out like that, you know how you to close the hole,
Right.
you have to, that first step on the 3-step, you have to step out behind the block so
Yes.
you don't step on his shoe.
Yeah.
But it allows them to close the block better and the outside to close the block better if you go loose goose. Some people go swing block.
Yeah.
BYU probably innovated that in 1999, right?
Yeah.
But the go ball got rid of the swing block really quick.
Yeah.
So they had a decision. You give up line on both sides, and maybe one guy abandons his split
Yeah.
and tries to reach in, and they made a decision to just step out. And everyone I'm like, my God, the middle looked like he was on suicide watch. It was just I felt bad because I thought
Yeah.
they made a decision and
Right.
based on that videotape. The night before, I don't know if it's right or wrong, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
No, and I don't know enough about that level of the game to comment. I was bummed to see the Americans go out. It's to see them heartbroken that's the losing at that point in the round of 16. It's a tough time to go out. But
they
don't know.
didn't even make it out of pool.
no, oh yeah, you're right.
There is no for men's indoor. There's only the round of 8.
Right. There's only
Yeah.
the round of 8. So that was the heartbreaker
Yeah.
that knocked him out. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
For people listening at home, it's 2 pools of 6 teams, and the top 4 in each go
Yeah,
to a
that's
final
right.
8-4 and final. So just for the beach people who've been
I've watched way more
like
beach.
you and me. We've been
Yeah. But I don't know. Anytime you see these Americans go out, we're sad. So April and Alex are our last hope. And then the indoor women, though, I couldn't find that game the other night. So I haven't watched enough of the indoor women I know they're awesome, but I haven't seen enough because the Olympics at my house has not been covering them well enough.
No.
At least at the times I'm watching, and I'm watching a lot.
Yeah, well, the buzz is you're watching April and Alex on Channel 4, and then somewhere in the middle of the other match, you're watching someone throw a javelin.
Yeah. Or rowing or weightlifting.
Yeah.
No shade. I know. I just want to watch volleyball.
Well, how about we just back it up with facts, right? Statistically, volleyball is the most watched sport in the Olympics. Let people watch it.
Yeah.
Listen to your people. Stop dictating what's good for them and what's not. Sometimes what's good for them is right. We don't really get volleyball for 4 years,
right?
As much as we get in this volume, right? This
Right.
volume, right? What's ESPN showing, right? They're showing cornhole, right?
Yeah.
I mean, out there they're showing a horse.
Yeah.
Horse,
No,
Wendy.
No,
Horse. Stop. Poker, which isn't even a sport. World Series of Poker. You can't show volleyball. So now, these 4 years, they have this opportunity to show volleyball in this magnitude, and they don't do it. That's crazy. So I'm very, very sad for the men's team. Micah Christensen, I actually sent this.
That was a
I actually
heartbreaker.
did this DM saying, just pick your head up, and I got some feedback like, oh, you're trying to say it's not okay. It's okay for a man to cry, because I said pick your head up and stand tall like the man we know you are. Those are my words. So people kind of made it like this sexist thing, like men can cry, and I'm like, no. If I was a woman, I'd tell them to woman up. I'm not going to tell a woman to man up. So, and that's not what I was saying. There is grief.
Yeah.
And then after grief, you stand tall. That's what I meant. There was a chronological thing.
Yeah.
The reason why you say pick your head up is because your head is on the shoulder of the coach crying.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
But you had that moment, and after that, I'm gonna say it again. You pick your freaking head up.
Yeah.
And you stand tall like a man. You haven't been
Well,
following
it
him.
shows you care.
Yes.
Right? His heart was in that game. I mean, and it's taking me back to all of those volleyball pictures from BYU when we thought the Stanford team was going away and all those guys ended and they were all crying. And
Yep.
I thought it was really profound to see, that age of guy let that come out in public and let it be seen. And so I am all for letting that heart come out and letting it be seen. But then, the next question is, where do you go from there? Right?
That was even worse because, at least for Christensen, he's going to be back next Olympics. He's young.
He's young and amazing.
He's been voted by the consensus population the best setter in the world.
Yeah.
He's the best setter I've seen on the U.S. national team since Jeff Stork on the 88 team and 92 team. That's a long time ago for y'all. I mean, that was when New Jack City was in the movies, okay? All right. Think about that. Ghost.
Yep.
Goodfellas. All those movies were a long time ago, people.
That was my first Olympic team for sure that I was
inspired
by. Yeah.
Me too.
Sure.
88.
Yeah.
Yeah. A New Yorker, a kid from Brooklyn,
Yeah.
doing ironwork, watching volleyball. But I said pick your head up because he did as good as he was going to possibly do. I don't love... Take this, again, fans, take this how you want. Maybe this is the wrong podcast, wrong episode for y'all. I thought the passing, when you have Micah that as a front row option can hit with both hands, and we've seen him in international ball draw the outside block, set instead of a push one, set on the top of his head in the middle, just jackknife it cross court. For a setter that can be disruptive like that, I don't think we saw enough options. There are people that hate the option. They thought Kelly Clays was doing it too much. I didn't. I have no problem with Kelly Clays optioning with balls that she sees with her own two eyes.
Yeah.
And if you look at the percentages, kills, the arrows, or whatever, her percentage in the option.
Yeah.
People want to talk about facts this, facts that. The fact is, her hitting percentage in the option was better than whatever.
And I was curious about that, and I don't know if this is something you said or I read it somewhere else, but also just the argument for energy expenditure when you're Clays and Sponsel and Kelly's got to put so much energy into that option and she's taking so many over on two, because I think the option is completely legit and a great play. But an energy expenditure over a tournament, is there something that is both physically and mentally more fatiguing because there's so much pressure on that player to constantly be looking for that option to score, right? Versus a team that has a more traditional, 3 touches and lots of options with a good set. So I thought that was an interesting, I can't remember where I read that or who said it first, but
that's the question.
It was an interesting question because there is a level of fatigue that's going to set in if your percentages on that option are as high as Kelly and Sarah's were. So
I think if you can see it with your own two eyes, do it.
Take it.
Because it's not, because if you could see
Brandy had some beautiful ones this morning. Because
if you can see
that lefty.
Yeah. But if you can see it with both eyes, it's not energy consuming because you're in system.
Yeah.
You're not out there trying to force things that are a little off, but I got to.
Yeah.
But since I'm doing that, I got to take this swing anyway. And the only exception is if you're hitting power. If you don't have complete court vision, good things happen in beach when you hit the crap out of it. So I don't mind a power shot. Indoor Micah in system can see in his peripherals the opposite leaving, the opposite staying with him, the middle leaving. See, he's got great peripherals. His decision making. He's such a great setter, which is the other reason why I said keep your head up. He did not get the pass.
Yeah.
And setters never say this, so someone's got to. Another setter who's not playing in the game has to say it for him, because setters are not going to sell out. Their quarterbacks are not going to sell out their front five, right? Yeah. And setters are not going to sell out their passers, because they think about it too much, and now you're worse because you're thinking about serve receive instead of just flowing. But me, who watched entire matches, I have to tell you that every time the ball was at the 10-foot line behind the 10-foot line or even in front of the 10-foot line, it was a triple block.
Yeah.
And when you see, guys, you don't know what a triple block is until you've seen an international team do it. You're fucked. And, you know, I didn't even mean to curse on this, but you're effed, okay?
Yeah.
There's no holes. There's really no way out. You know, I'm very, very highly critical of where they decided to do their serve receive on location. I think, and you've seen it because even in down ball and free balls, their location wasn't to a target where he can option. So that was not it wasn't like this default because the serves were really, really fast. Even I would have bought that argument.
Yeah.
But what about the argument when you're getting a free ball? What about the argument when you're getting these down balls or whatever? Why are you not? You're not trapping Micah Christensen. For 3 years, the guy has been...
Yeah.
I've been following him. The guy has... I don't know if it's a swing or just this ridiculous mishit from a power dink. The guy has power in both hands. He's such an intelligent player.
Yeah.
So when I said pick your head up and stand tall like the man we know you are, you know, and on that same post, I said you're the best setter I've seen on the U.S. national team since Jeff Stork. Yeah. So they knew. No one knew I wasn't saying stop crying like a bit.
No.
You know.
I hear you.
So I mean that was important. So, yeah. But man, still going on, huh? Yeah. Still going on, and I'm sad because I'm used to seeing the Magic Four men's indoor. It's USA, Italy, Russia, and Brazil.
Yeah. So
France is in.
Yeah.
Argentina's in. Brazil just beat Japan. Japan got in the playoffs. How's that for a host? Killer lefty. We'll talk about him someday. Maybe with Micah Maha at some point he's going to come back on the podcast. I think I want to talk more indoor stuff with him.
Yeah.
Because it is my wheelhouse, but it's 10 times more his. I know him and the Worsley brothers follow that avidly.
Oh yeah.
How about their reign of terror, huh?
Oh my gosh, grass court.
Out of system, right?
Out of system's amazing. Luke's had a fun time playing with those guys.
Wait, we gotta come on. It pops up on my YouTube feed all the time. I can't get it. I didn't even subscribe to them, and they they pop up on my YouTube wall. So, your thoughts on you watched Micah play enough because he was right. He set for UCLA. Actually, before your kid played for Stanford, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, he's just enough older than Luke that I haven't. I've watched some UCLA volleyball, and then this year watched a lot of UCLA as much as we could watch. I watched. We played UCLA I think twice. But no, he's an amazing player. I'm just so versatile, and watching them on the grass has just been tons of fun. And then
I'm just looking for like a highlight clip out of system.
It's a perfect name and perfect name for him.
It's a perfect name because if you watch their matches, they have been murdering people with the jump serve.
Yeah,
getting teams out of system.
Yeah,
they have been. Quite the opposite. They have been completely
cloud-like escape
in
with
system.
Taco Bell's
So,
flatbread tacos.
All right, people,
Pillowy flatbread is topped with
watch this a little bit. With some highlights. Good. These are clips. So they have a lefty. The brothers are a lefty and a righty.
Yeah.
That guy at the net is Micah Maha. This is in Texas somewhere. Look at that ridiculous pass, dude. So. This is what happens when it's competitive. When it's not competitive. Now watch. I want to stay on long enough to watch one of the serves. Did you see the curve? The right hand is curve at the end. Yep. That's some ridiculous shit right there, dude. And I like the lefty because he doesn't need a lefty set. Watch this. Comes back.
Great
makes
camera.
the adjustment. It's not like, I can't hit that because I'm a lefty.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous serve, dude.
Totally.
And look at the fucking hands. Clean.
Beautiful. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, you got roofed? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Yep. Who cares?
I know. Oh, it's so fun.
No, but between him and the other two guys, they're serving, and the other right hand just got that. Thought I'd share that with everybody. Look, since we're talking about volleyball and since we had so much to catch up on, right?
Yeah.
I guess let's talk about Nuss and Kloth.
Oh gosh, talk about getting an opportunity to see something on the way up. Because you and I were in Louisiana and saw them
Coconut Beach.
win that tournament. Unfortunately, it was what happened in the final. She had to. They didn't get to play the final because the Brazilian team was cramping and
forfeit. Right?
Forfeit. Thank you. But every game that they played, that whole tournament was amazing. And then going to watch them in Atlantic City again. They showed, they lost. They had a rough road in that one. And to climb all the way back to that final and then win it in 3. And then that third game of that final, are you kidding me? The beast mode that came out.
Yes.
I could not believe, and I told them both. I was like, I got the opportunity to interview them in Coconut Beach, and they couldn't be nicer human beings. More humble, humble, amazing kids that are they are on their way up. It is unbelievable the amount of potential that is still left in them. And Taryn, are you kidding me? She's been playing beach for a year and a half, and the things she's doing already, oh gosh, they are so fun to watch.
Well, for people listening, Taryn Cloth, 4-year player at Creighton. She's 6'5". She was an outside hitter, and Creighton one of those years made it to the Elite Eight. So. Kristen Nuss, Louisiana product, 5'6", one's 6'5", one's 5'6".
Yeah.
So for those of you that only watch the tour stop, you have not been serving yourselves really well. This team has, all right, they won 8 straight tournaments before their NCAA season. During their NCAA season, they were a perfect 35-0 in the pair system. So, my 5 teams against your 5 teams, Wendy, whoever wins 2 out of 3 out of 3 out of 5 wins the duel.
Right.
This team was a perfect 35-0. Afterwards, they win Coconut Beach, they win Wapaka. They eventually avenge that loss because their last loss before Atlantic City was Mastrini and Mastrini, Liliana and Larissa, the Brazilians.
Okay.
Which again, a match
which
they were
that
leading.
would have been, and that
a match they were leading 12-9.
And that would have been the final at Coconut Beach, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's not how they wanted their win.
No.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, look, maybe I'll take that win by forfeit. I'm like, dude, I just played 4 straight matches, and they don't show that doesn't cheapen my victory. That's how I feel. But for them,
they wanted to win it.
No, forfeit. You ever see Back to the Future Part 3, the third one?
Part 3 has the
Western
runaway
one.
train. Yeah, I can
The
picture.
Western
Yeah,
one.
I can picture the runaway train, but I don't.
So he's
really
supposed to
remember
go
it
outside and have a gunfight with Buford, right?
Okay.
Buford
Yeah.
10 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Michael J. Fox says, "Look, I forfeit, okay?" And then he goes, he turns around, he says to his guy, "What is forfeit, man?" And the guy behind him says, "That means you win without a fight." He goes, "You can't do that." So that's how that's probably how they felt.
For sure.
And then Atlantic City, like you said, contenders bracket, climbed out. You know what I mean?
With a bunch of tough matches in that contenders bracket. I mean,
the reason why they even wound up in that.
And like you said, for people that are just watching the tour stop, like that Atlantic City thing, the talent was unreal.
Yeah. Well, when the money comes, the players come, right?
Yeah.
That was $100K purse.
Yeah.
Right. Just think about it. 3 years ago, like Austin was a $75K purse, and that was a tour stop.
Yeah.
Right. So consider that, right? And consider Betsy Flint and Emily Day came. They were the 1 seed, considering the Brazilians were there. Chrissy Jones played. Chrissy Schunderword. Sorry, that's her new name. Chrissy Schunderword played. Really, really good volleyball.
My hat is off to them. They were literally have been one of my favorite teams to watch.
Yeah.
And seeing how hard they work out here when you see them practicing, and then to watch it convert and to see them beat Taryn and Kristen, and which I came up at the end of that match and I heard the score and I was like, wait, did that what just happened?
Yeah.
And
they beat Flint and Day.
And that match I watched that one, and my hat is off to them. They are playing such good volleyball.
Well, I call that a revenge match. For anyone who doesn't know who Christy Jones, now Chrissy Schunderwood was, her and Muno Susanna Muno, but they call her Zana, right? She wins UCLA. Chrissy Jones is played
Cal
for
Poly.
Todd, her grad year under the professor. And Todd can't say enough about that woman's intelligence. Never mind athleticism, just a conversation.
Very cool.
And for me personally, she's the last of the power women, the kind of women that walk into a room and like the men get up and she's like, no, you don't have to. So we were talking about that kind of woman that they don't birth anymore. So volleyball people, 47 seed, Hermosa Beach 2019 qualifier. 47 seed makes the draw and then makes it all the way to the semifinals. Subsequently losing to Betsy Flint and Emily Day. So that was a revenge match. So can't say enough about her. And I mean, I don't know what's going on as far as putting this woman up and promoting her. And
she's another, like you said, she's gonna let her play answer.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't say a lot, and
But we reward those people too, don't we?
She can't be understated, though.
But don't we reward those people too, right?
Yes. Absolutely. It's my favorite.
Do you see Phil Dalhouser doing cartwheels and wearing a clown suit?
No.
Wearing a gold jacket?
My favorite thing to watch.
Yeah,
because she just goes out there and does her thing, and she is a wall. When her blocking is on, like, there is nothing. I mean, I love watching a good blocker, so... She's a really good blocker.
Yeah, Nuss and Cloth, man.
Yeah.
But back to those two.
Yeah, well, back to those two. They are on their way up. Like, that is good, and not even close to done. That's going to go on for...
So for the people who are watching the three tours, Manhattan Beach, they have a bid, so you'll get to see them in the main draw. Yeah. Of course, Evan Corey, the other Louisiana product, playing with Logan Weber. He won Wapaka. Right. Which was an automatic bid.
Yep.
I guess the runner-up gets one for Coconut Beach if someone already has a bid. So the Brazilians are going. They have a bid.
Okay.
Larissa.
Yes.
We finally get to see Larissa, on the tour or whatever.
Yes.
But I don't know about Atlanta. I don't know how the scoring works. I don't know how many of these guys are like sitting on their points for like a whole year and 2 years. Oh, I got this. And I know, and these guys who've been playing every weekend just trying to get it in. You know what I mean? The AVP does a really good job protecting their top five, and I think rightfully so. But I'd like to see some kind of reward system where this guy
for the guys who are grinding,
who've been winning every week,
right,
just to have the right to go to the qualifier. They got it. We got it. I think we got to do a little bit better than that, and they have been. Like Manhattan Beach, like there are 8 bids, right? There's 32 teams.
Okay.
So there's 16 for points.
Yeah.
There's 8 for regional winners, or like these certain tournaments. So it's automatic bids, and I love that.
Yes.
And then the last 8 are the gladiator pits.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, this year is 2 days.
Oh.
Qualifiers, ladies and gentlemen, 2 days. It's going to be 2 days. It's going to be Wednesday and Thursday in Manhattan Beach.
Good to know.
Yeah. So just letting everybody know, come a day early.
More volleyball to watch.
Yeah, dude. It's look. There's some people that don't want to spend the hotel on an extra day, but if you're a professional, you have to invest, or you get sponsors or whatever, and you know it can't stay the same. It can't stay the same. It has to change. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
I'm excited. Manhattan's coming. That's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah. Oh, and Atlantic City was, people listening, that was a double elimination qualifier. I will say that again. Yeah. I will say that again. It was a double elimination qualifier. So the winners bracket games were 2 out of 3, and the losers bracket games were 1 game to 28. And you had a ton of teams there, and they did it. Yeah. They don't have night lights, and they finished the tournament in a timely manner.
Yeah.
The players ran a tight ship. They started the games on time, and I like it because now someone who wants to make this trip.
It's
like how many teams have you seen like get a hiccup? You know, like a good team.
I don't know how. I mean, you can travel across the country for one match.
And like we've seen Eric Baranek lose a heartbreaker in the last round. We've seen, Budinger and Friend lose in 2019 as the 1 seed. So Rafa Rodriguez, if you remember 2017, Rodriguez and McCulloch had to play Reed Pretty and came shock. I mean, don't we want a double elimination? Don't we want them to have a chance to get their one off? So I mean, it's a very cool system, and they were able to do it in a day. So for the tour stops, if you're locking points for the qualifier, it can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done. Manhattan Beach, I guess everyone's going. So that if I don't think they're doing double elimination, but I do know for a fact that it's going to be 2 days.
know.
And I like that because I don't want these high seeds to beat themselves up.
Right.
Exhausted as hell. They just finished 8:00, and then they have to wake up and play Phil and Nick at 9.
Seriously.
That's what the winner gets. So,
Yeah.
and I don't like it because I feel like it's just protecting the people
Sure.
with the points who are more than happy to let these guys beat the hell out of each other, and
Yeah.
occasionally one team wins here and there. We're good. We can take it,
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. Really, really, really good. So on another note, because I know we
talk a lot of volleyball, but we
Yeah.
talk about a lot of other stuff too.
dude, and
You and I have traveled for 2 weeks this summer, so we've talked about a lot.
yeah, we talk good. But I wanted to make sure we covered Jake and Taylor. I wanted to make sure we covered Clays and Sponsel.
Yeah.
We didn't talk enough about Alex and April, but that story is still
That
happening.
story's still coming.
That story is still
Yeah,
happening. Right?
absolutely.
They
they
beat
look
the
good.
Germans last
Yeah.
night, 21-19, 21-19,
Yeah.
against a very game Ludwig and Kozu.
Yes.
Right? A very game
Those
opponent.
1-overs, man. They were killing me. She was killing me with the 1-overs.
She was? Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I love it.
I agree. Then April and Alex, they looked great, but it was a great match.
So where are we? I just want to make sure we covered everything. Keyboard warriors. We don't like them too much, but then again, some of them have a point, right? Yeah. I think what I was trying to say on that was don't dismiss the message just because you don't like the messenger. I think that's what I could have saved this.
Absolutely.
Saved us a whole bunch of recording time
Yeah.
and just said that.
And the
people
other
would have
thing that I
gotten it.
think you're good at, you've made the point is that, and I like to say, you don't have to know everything to say something. And I think there's a lot of people out there that think like you need to be an expert to speak. And part of the thing I love about your podcast is that like it's really just an open forum to say what you think, and for people to learn how to absorb information without getting offended.
Yes.
Let there be dialogue. You don't have to know everything to say something.
Yes. For the people listening, I like steak. I make steak. I eat steak. I make steak really well. Am I a chef? No.
Right.
But I can talk about steak on a level when, look, when you want to talk about how it's prepared and this and that.
And then can you eat vegan pasta with your friend Kenny? Oh. That's what it's all about.
If there's anything I can't stand is a woman that airs my laundry, dude. You told these people you told these people I ate vegan pasta.
It just had some broccoli
I am
in
from
it. You're
Brooklyn.
fine.
No, they will never forgive me for that. No, but listen.
It was good.
Oh my God, it was awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of like nah, I won't say that.
Anyway, you said steak, so I thought vegan pasta.
Yes. It was kind of like that movie Undercover Brother when he like dated or like hooked up with like a white woman and like all of his brothers were like, you should be ashamed of yourself, your black sisters ain't good enough for you. Then when the women left, it was like, how was it? How was it? So that was Eddie Griffin. That's Undercover Brother.
Haven't seen it.
Hilarious. I mean, it's not for everybody. That's why I was hesitant about saying it because
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a little bit correct, Wendy.
That's all right.
So on another subject matter, and this is where the volleyball people are like, all right, we're done with this podcast.
Yeah.
I have and I have a lot of friends that say they don't see race, right? They see everybody the same way. And I think it's a very noble attribute if it comes from a place of self-honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people who are self-honest and they believe that and that's how they guide their life, that's awesome. And if people are born and bred that way and they're programmed that way, then there needs to be more of them.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, bear with me on this, Wendy.
Yeah.
I grew up reading X-Men. All right. I have 11 years worth of X-Men comics in the house.
Cool.
Yeah, from 1983 to
really
1994. X-Men titles. Now, for people that don't read comics, X-Men basically are a group of people that are born a certain way. They're born with this gift of powers or curse, right? And through puberty, maybe they mutate. They, like Beast, he went from a regular person to like a blue person, right? Mystique, for the people that watch the movies, sometimes they look a little different. Right. And, and sometimes some people look the same. They look like everybody else, but they're ingratiated with these powers.
Right.
So they are sworn to protect. The X-Men are sworn to protect a world who fears them and despises them. In some cases, hates them because they're afraid of you. Sometimes you lash out because you don't understand what you're afraid of.
Yeah.
And you're taught to lash out. They're your enemy. You're supposed to hate them. So any kid who's ever grown up being different, looking different, than everybody else and has been an outcast. Yeah. That was our comic. Yeah. That was our survival. All right. So the important thing, the reason why I'm saying this is because Storm, one of the X-Men, was asked by Rogue, don't you wish for one day? Just one day. You were like everybody else and you were just normal. Right. And she said, the truth? No. Yeah. I don't. I like her ability is to manipulate the weather, and if you manipulate the weather, you're in touch with nature on a certain level that your human counterparts are not or don't get to do. And to her, it's a privilege and an honor, and she embraces it, and she doesn't want it. She wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. Right. And it contradicts the whole notion of I don't see race, or I don't see this. It contradicts that notion because she's taking something and saying, I'm not hiding it, or I don't see myself as the same as everybody else. I have something that belongs to me. I'm proud of it, and I celebrate it.
Well, and I think what you hit on there is the word is belonging. And if you, on both sides, one, I think if you know how to belong to yourself and you're comfortable in the world, then there's a lot of power that comes from that. Whether, whatever makes you different becomes your superpower and not your, the thing that makes you turn back and pull away. But I also have a lot of, I guess the word's empathy, because I've thought about this a lot. I, as a white, yes, I'm a woman, but I've grown up in a place where I have not, I haven't felt that different on a societal level. And I think for so many generations, when you've told a certain segment of people, a certain culture, a certain race, that they are different and they've been treated different, I don't know what it feels like to be that. So when I come from a place that say, I could be one of those people that say, I don't see race. And it's never been something for me that I have friends and relationships and people that I am with all different races. And that's something I would teach my kids, that there is no difference, but their experience is different. And to come from a place to say, I don't know that experience, and that it's a time from my perspective that I need to sit back and listen rather than speak. Not speaking is a way of showing respect, because a lot of times it's your turn to listen instead of stand up and be heard. So from having the experience of, like, I have a child on the autism spectrum. Would I change his experience because I want his day to be easier? As a mom, sometimes I wish I could, because that struggle it's real, and it's painful to watch when you see someone get treated differently, or it's so you don't want to see the mama bear come out of me. I will mad dog kids. That now he's 6'4" and he's gonna have no problem doing that himself, but you also see the strength that comes when you have people that are changed by having that in their midst. So can you be changed by having, different races, different cultures all merging together? Is my family stronger because I have a child that teaches my other kids what it's like to struggle and come out of a struggle and become stronger? That's where the lessons are learned, whether you're talking race or disability or superpower, because those things can be flipped. Right? A disability can become a superpower. It's all in how you see it and how you train it and how you teach other people and set the example of, showing how you're going to handle that. So it's super important to me on so many levels, because being different should be celebrated.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to feel like they belong.
Yeah, but I mean, look, as far as people that don't see race, there's a part of you that doesn't want to fix that's not broken, right? I don't think it's a broken thing to not to see everybody the same way, except you might be blind to the fact that certain people are treated a different way because they're different. And if you see everybody the same, you don't understand why someone's being treated someone different. You assume that they have it coming or they deserve it because everyone's the same. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a flaw in that, too. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talked to Chris Johnson yesterday. Chris Johnson, 6'10" or whatever. I'm like, at no point do you wish you were white. You know what I'm saying? And at every point, you're proud. You are black and proud.
Yeah.
OK. I'm mixed. My mom's mixed. My dad's white. My mom's black. There were times when I grew up where I was asked, and I wish I was one or the other. And at no time did I wish I was one or the other. And if people like, if you got to choose one, which one would you choose? I'm like, I don't choose any. Like no, dude, like gun to your head, which one would you choose? I'm like, shoot me.
What? Yeah.
You know, so
which is a powerful statement because through all the things you've been through, you have grown to love yourself, which is in the end the greatest thing you can ever give the world is to show up and be like, no, this is me, deal with it. Yeah. You know, and that power that you feel when you are comfortable enough to be yourself, people can do anything. Yeah. You know?
I think because we are uniters and not dividers, we can say it like this. For the people that don't see race, I say to you, take a look. You'll like what you see. You'll like what you see when you take a look.
Think about the story.
And I'm not talking about blackness. I'm talking about like if someone's white and they don't wish they're anything else but white or whatever. I mean, someone's born here. Look, if someone's born in Manhattan Beach and they get over what they want, it's obvious they wouldn't trade that for anything in the world either. And they shouldn't be apologetic for what they have. I mean, when someone says, when someone talks about white guilt, you're sorry that it happened to one of your brothers that looked differently and that suffered needlessly because of that. You're sorry on that. You're not apologizing for yourself. You apologize. You as someone you need to understand, and you try to understand, but you really can't say. There's a part, and this is where I kind of like sound like I'm defending white people, but you can't. If my grandfather was a racist, how is that my fault? You know, and that's where the term apology comes from. Right. Apology and sorry. I mean, the interpretation is very important, and people have to decipher that. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't say, "I'm sorry that," you know, say sorry as if you did it. You know, you say you're sorry that it happened. Your grandfather was an asshole. Yeah. All right. You know, me and my mom, we're not getting along or whatever. We haven't gotten along in quite some time. I don't want to be held accountable for what she does. But you know, because that's what happens, right? Like, like whatever. Let's say Osama bin Laden, right? His niece is looking for an apartment in Manhattan. She's not gonna get it because she's his niece. Right. But maybe
guilt by association.
But maybe she's not into that gangster shit.
Right.
You know, but maybe, you know, and I sound like a sympathizer, but I'm not doing that. All I'm trying to say is that not acknowledging race in a positive way is very, very good. But every now and then take a look because you'll like what you see. And they'll like what they see. And the reason why I brought it up is because the undeniable fact that people have preferences.
For sure.
Right? I have black friends that like to date white women. That's what they like. And they should choose whatever they want. Right? Just like someone who's gay.
We're all so much more than the sum of one part of ourselves. Like the color of our skin, the color of our hair, our political beliefs. Like society is so split by identity these days, and a human being is so much more than any one of those identities. Mm-hmm. So step back and really just try to connect with the story and the perspective that somebody else is coming from, rather than being threatened by it, rather than needing yours to be right. Mm-hmm. And know that yours is just based on your own experience. Yes. Politics is a journey through somebody's story, right? Yeah. Instead of this like, I need to be right, you need to be right. You know, black people need to date black people, or white women like to date black men, like whatever it is, it's one tiny thing about somebody. Mm-hmm. What kind of music do you like? Yeah. What kind of, what do you eat for dinner? Are you a vegetarian? Are you not? Like all these things. I mean, they're There's so much
But how-
more to it.
but-
So how do we get so you can honor somebody's experience and their story and listen to it, but we cannot allow society to be segmented off by one identity.
Yeah. But
It's
do you
just
see what
not-
I was saying when I sounded like I'm defending white people?
Yeah.
There's anyone that doesn't know the difference between an apology and saying I'm sorry
Yeah.
might think something different, right? That maybe there's some guy out there is like, why is it my fault that my grandfather's an asshole? Why should I apologize? No one's saying, no
Nobody
one
said
used
it's
the
your
word
fault.
apology.
Yeah.
They just want you to say, you know what? That's effed up.
Right.
Dude, I'm sorry that happened.
Acknowledge the experience.
Yeah, no one's asking.
Yeah.
That's. Can you see how wordplay comes into
Yeah,
play,
I can.
and how people choose to interpret it, or how, like you said, there's an agenda out there that sways the interpretation of a meaning of what an apology and what saying I'm sorry is. Okay,
Yeah.
right. You know, like I grew up in Flatbush Avenue. It's all black neighborhood. And I'm like, you know, I've told them I never personally enslaved anyone. They're like, but your great-great-great-grandfather has. And I'm like, well, anytime you want to give him, you know, anytime you want to go back in time and take that up with him. So a lot of times I didn't see that because frankly, I got tired of getting it from both ends. So
Yeah.
I should just pick another example. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just crazy because I got it from both ends. I've been called wigger. I've been called white nigger. I've been called zebra. I've been called Oreo cookie. And these things are really, really fun to look at when they don't encounter someone that's mixed all the time. And it's like, well, what do we call them in the world of labels?
Yeah.
And they think it's funny, you know. But me growing up, that wasn't funny. I didn't
No.
find it funny. I found it hurtful where I had to rewire my brain where there was this level of acceptance of just having thick skin.
Yeah.
You know, but as
Yeah.
far as me opining on race, as an individual, I'm not representing anyone else but myself. I'm gonna have an opinion. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Anyone has a problem, come see me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, one cannot be betrayed if one doesn't have a people. So that's how they've forced, not they, but they have swayed my level of thinking to go. Which
Well, and it makes me think about what is it that instills meanness in people,
because I don't understand.
Okay, but I go all the way back to my childhood and go, I would almost criticize myself as saying like, I almost have a lack of killer instinct because I don't have any meanness in me.
Right.
Right? Like I can't imagine words coming out of my mouth that would call somebody something like that. So is that something that I pass on to my children? They've never heard me say something mean about something. I think about my own parents. My dad's never said something. I've never heard him say anything mean about somebody.
Right.
Where does that, and then it's fear of what they don't understand. It's an insecurity. But even in my most insecure moment, I'm not going to say something mean. So what is that in society that creates that backlash in people?
Well, if that's a question.
Yeah, it is.
I'll start with you. The reason why you are mean, and don't say mean things in your dad or whatever, it comes from a source of strength to tell everybody around you this is how I feel. It's not going to change, and there's no group or faction or what do you call that? This group mentality.
Yeah, you don't
this
need
group,
that
this
to
group
belong to that.
Yeah, this group
herd mentality.
Yeah. To that's going to change your level of thinking. I'm going to sound like I'm criticizing people. It comes from a place of sometimes, more often than not, comes from a place of weakness.
Yeah.
You're too weak-willed to actually just take a look at things for what they are, and everybody else is doing it. Seems funny. That I actually laugh too. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes we all laugh at jokes that are cruel.
Yeah, but
in
me, I have always felt this. Like,
yeah.
if I hear that, it hurts
you.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it gets my heart.
Well, I mean, the reason why it doesn't get to me is because I'm mixed, and because satire, if you recognize it as something that's so ridiculous, that it portrays, like Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Andrew Dice Clay. Oh, it's humor. Oh, he'll never go on Saturday Night Live. I remember they had him not host because of his jokes. And I'm like, if you guys think for 1 second that guy is in character like that when he's home and this and that. No, he's portraying a guy that we know about. A particular kind of person, this cuisine from Brooklyn, that wants girls, to give him head in the bathroom, or this, or I laid that chick, or that, with the thick accent, and the man's character is so ridiculous that you have to laugh. You have to laugh because you think a person can't be that galactically stupid, but he is, and it's funny, and you're laughing now, even now, just talking about it. So there's a level I embrace that I find funny that a lot of people don't find funny. That's because I recognize satire when you experience it, but to know that you're inflicting pain on someone and to continue to do it sometimes is not, I think this is where this generation of kids got it right. This generation, like your son right now, I got a daughter bringing up the rear or whatever, but your kid's age, he's 18, 19, and the kids from 18 to 26 right now, they got it right as far as this whole bullying thing is concerned. They got it right, because when we grew up, you just had to have thick skin, and Brooklyn was even worse. Like, you had to literally fight because they'd see you and they think it's okay if you don't. So you fight and you lose or whatever, but you make them remember you where they have to choose an easier target. So that's this generation got it right as far as that's concerned.
Interesting. Yeah, and I was going more to the concept of like the online world, and you do hear a lot about online bullying and the concept of not being able to get away from it. So I do think that as parents, there's something that you have to focus on, knowing that your kids, unless you have some way of shutting them down from devices, it's a 24/7 world. So if you do have a problem with bullying, it's intense and it's a problem because there is no going home to escape from it. Because it's now. And then it's coming in on your phone, and then it's on every social media network. And it's that, as a parent, that is very scary. Now, I haven't had a personal experience with that. It's just things I read about and think about, seeing how much kids are connected through the online world. So that's the only thing I worry about bullying wise. But like I say, I've seen it, and I've also seen my own kids come to the defense of other people, and especially, their younger brother, and watching what that does to strengthen your character. And it's an amazing thing. I mean, the world is always going to be like that. Not everybody's nice.
Yeah. We were also talking about people who are dividers too.
Yeah.
Right. Where are people? Sorry, let me fix my mic. I wanted to make sure you had some good sound too.
Yeah.
I think there is a division for profit thing going on with major networks. I think if there's division, it's news. Have you noticed? You haven't noticed. CNN, their ratings are at one of the all-time lows since Trump is no longer in office.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, there's nothing to report anymore. There's nothing to.
There's no fire.
Yeah, there's zero. So, and listen, this division started, and we had a conversation about this the other day. It started when there are two groups of people who are really not that big, have pretended to be big because it was a fishing expedition to recruit more heads to make their gangs bigger.
Right.
And now, like you said, it's gotten to a point where they have people out there doing free work for what they get paid to do every day.
Yep.
Free work.
Well, and they're not big, they're just loud. And then the cameras are getting pointed at them on both fringe ends of the spectrum.
Well, the goal is to fake it till they make it.
Yeah.
Right? Pretend we're big, and then we get enough people, we become what we say, and we say we were like this the whole time, and that's what's going on. But I personally consider it one of those good problems. You got a politician that's not lighting up the press anymore to distract everybody from what's really going on. That's partially the media's fault. It's mostly Trump's fault as far as just keep your mouth shut. We got Biden. We both agree might be hanging on by a dementia drumstick. And it's been pretty quiet press wise. I mean,
very.
They're scaring the hell out of us with COVID again with the Delta variant.
Well,
of course,
there's nothing else to talk about.
No, there isn't. Yeah.
I mean, at least if you turn on the news, which, like I say, I went from being a news junkie my entire life to, 5-6 years ago, just being like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
and I'm not a big fan of anything but, a little column of the newspaper and, maybe 10 minutes of news. And I don't really want to hear everybody go back and forth on opposite ends of the spectrum anymore. It's
exhausting.
grating and exhausting. And I think that the most of us have a lot in common if we could just learn to sit down and listen to each other's experience. So, and they're not doing that on TV. So why listen to it?
And we're not really doing that as honest human beings on social media either. Like, I have a friend, James Barker. You couldn't find two people that disagree more. Like, look, to my conservative friends, I'm a bleeding heart liberal. Mm-hmm. To my liberal friends, I agree with them. Oh, Jason's crossing over to the dark side. I'm just, we both know that's it's neither. I'm not. Right. I'm just trying to speak
Well, what I like
truth
about
to
you
power.
is you're an independent thinker.
Yeah.
You're not beholden to anybody's opinion, and you listen too. You do. I feel like you listen open-mindedly. I watch some of your news feed and the comments and the discussion that you start, and I honestly think it's very intelligent.
Super necessary.
Yeah, it is.
That also comes from being mixed. I think being mixed has allowed me to being raised black and white has allowed me to be fair. On both ends of the spectrum. If you're both, you can choose to be ignorant about it, but my choices, I didn't really have a choice. My choices are very limited. I'm born this way.
But I think
like a mutant, like the X-Men, I'm born this way.
Well, and I think the same thing can be said of political opinions too, because the news people want to put you in a certain category. And I wrote a blog piece a while back that was like, why can't I be a believer in global warming and that they probably need to do controlled burning in California?
100%.
Right? Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can, there's so many issues that they try to say you're this or you're that, and you're not. People are so much more than one issue, and we've really gotten into a place where, you see it, people say, oh, well, I can't be friends with you if you voted for yes. Trump seems to be the instigator of that, but I won't be friends with a Republican. I won't be friends with a Democrat. I'm not going to be friends because you voted for that. That isn't how I grew up.
Well, two things. You stumbled onto something very, very important. And I think I want to address yours first. Very much like money.
Yeah.
Like if you come into money, people say money changes you. Money doesn't change you. Money shows who you really are.
I say amen.
So
to that.
Trump didn't change anybody. So there was a swelling of internal opinions and assertions that people want to do it. He just made it easier for people to become enemies, and in this level of free thinking, there's been an oversaturation where there's no level of respect.
Absolutely.
Level of respect that if we're sitting in the same room, that we're not having this conversation. Like me and James, I just said me and James disagree on a lot of things, but when we see each other, all I want to do is give the guy a hug. And this man is like the Hank Williams song goes, and I sang it for him too. Yep. He's a country plowboy, not an urban cowboy. Doesn't ride bulls, but has fought some men. Drives a pickup truck, trusts in God and luck, and lives to love Texas women. What the hell is wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. They say grace, they say ma'am, they hold the door, they hold the chair. That is a place where, as a California, where we're paying all this freaking tax, I'm like, I'm moving to Texas. You know, and then you hear a song like "All My Exes Can Live in Texas." You're like, all right, I changed my damn mind. But look, James sees someone like me, the way I grew up, ex-military like him. Well, not like him. He's a Black Hawk operator. That dude's a real savage. All right, and James, I'm so glad you're listening to this because I know you are. I'm plugging you. You know me, I was just a generator mechanic supporting MI, and then eventually played volleyball. But he sees me and the way I grew up. Kid from Flatbush. Did prison ministries when I was 16 years old. I visited Rikers Island and talked to people about God and basketball. Of course, military service. Of course, been broke, lived check to check, been homeless, and like Republicans have this virtue about like you get rewarded for hard work. So there's a path that I took that wasn't given to me. Some was given, a lot of it was given to me, but some I took. Right. And made something. And even a Republican can look at a left-leaning centrist like me and say, sit in the same room and like, I like that guy, you
Yeah.
know? Like Jason Olive and James, you can't find two polar opposite people on opinions. But I guarantee you, if they're in the same room, they'll drink beer and they'll talk volleyball,
Yeah.
and sometimes.
Well, and so much of it has to do with creating opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this country is never going to be born. We're not, there's not equity in this where we're born and the experience that we're born into, right? But what you did in those moments when you were down, like there was something in you. And that's what I'm always so fascinated by, why I follow these stories and why I try to figure out like what creates post-traumatic stress and what creates post-traumatic growth, right? Because a lot of times it's the same experience, and then how did we react to it? And then how does that become part of your story? And that's not getting told. Those stories don't get told in the news. So to take it back to politics, like when you get down on this, like, Republicans think it's all about hard work and Democrats think it's all about,
The stereotype. It's about handouts.
the handout.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's not. It's never, nothing is ever that simple.
No.
Human nature is not that simple.
No.
So it's about knowing the story. Now, I know your story. I try to connect one by one with people's stories because it makes you understand why the world works the way it does. It gives you compassion. It gives you an idea of how you can connect with other people,
right.
and not just think that you're right. And take away that elitist attitude of like, oh, well, I know because I've been here or I've been elected to some certain office. Like, it's all a bunch of elitist nonsense on either side at this point.
Yeah.
People are protecting their power. I'm so tired of watching people they're protecting their power. What's going on in Washington doesn't feel like what's going on in my world.
No.
So
Yeah,
you disconnect from it.
I agree. Like, look, I'll give you an example where I lean more right than left. Gun control, okay, I don't want an AK, I don't want a hand cannon, I don't want an AT-4, I'm not trying to take out a tank,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to protect myself. So I'm very much into gun laws that are consistent with self-protection.
Yeah.
Until they invent a movie called The Minority Report, where the police can prevent the future crimes that they see you're going to commit, instead of saying we can't do anything until a crime's committed. I believe in some form of crime prevention, and if that's self-protection, that I'm all for that. So, and where I lean left, and this is where I think where the right fails miserably, they're big on this whole not having entitlement spending. The new term entitlement spending, not so new term, where the welfare queen, like this urban myth of this person getting money and going in a shopping center with fur coats and using food stamps to pay for their food is like, oh my God, it's all the liberals this, the liberal that, and it's always a black woman too, or a black man, which is like ridiculous. So, but the problem with these assertions with gun control and with the Democrats or whatever, they're hiding stats that are inconsistent with their assertions, right? Like, if you look at the top 10 states that are the biggest recipients of welfare, 8 of those 10 states vote Republican. Mississippi, Louisiana, right? Arkansas. These states are red states. So this whole thing of they don't want entitlement spending, but the entitlement spending is super necessary for people that desperately need it. And particularly in these states that vote Republican, seems to be a contradiction in terms, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at the stats for gun control, like gun deaths and this and that or whatever, you have these school shootings or whatever. These kids that no one wants to talk about mental health. They want to just talk about taking people's guns away instead of whatever. Like, they never talk about the stats on the people who do get guns illegally. So, like, if you restrict someone from having a gun, like, does that stop the person from who commits crimes on a regular? Does that stop them from getting a gun? No, they're going to have a gun. I'm not talking about these situations where someone, you get on an elevator and you just jump off because something's wrong with his eyes. Yeah. I'm scared of crazy white people, right? So I think these political assertions don't match the actual I won't say data, but
Yeah.
like where the statistics are swaying. Go
But
ahead.
there's one that pops into my head because you're talking politics that has been popping up in regular life lately, like as far as handouts go. Like we've been through this whole COVID thing, and where unemployment was super necessary, people are losing their jobs left and right. But I've been in restaurants and grocery stores and heard business owners say that they're having a really hard time hiring people to keep their businesses running. I was bagging my groceries. I offered yesterday because I went through and got this giant run and there's nobody to bag the groceries. I'm like, hey, I can help you. Let's do this because the line's backing up. And I said, are you guys understaffed? Yeah, we've got one person on break. I do every job in the store. And the checker says to me, we can't find people because they're making more on unemployment.
Right.
There are problems out there. Mm-hmm. And you can never,
But don't you think the real problem is if they're making more on unemployment, isn't that indicative of how the job is treating them as opposed to people getting opportunities? I mean, we make these salary skewings and we decide that this person, just because it doesn't require a degree, he doesn't deserve this much money.
Right.
This job is for kids. And I'm like, kids go to school, right? And when they're in school, someone else has to do the job.
Right.
So
and they're having to live, and here in California where we're living, like you're not making a living to be able to live where we're bagging groceries.
And I think that depends on the level. Like there are certain people that are losing money. They're unemployment, they're losing money. They're being on unemployment. They get paid more than what unemployment pays, and there's some people that were unemployment has been paying than what they actually make. And look, sooner or later that's gonna run out because that's
right
because that's unemployment insurance. Just
right.
reminding everybody at home, this is not welfare. This is a system that we paid into. That's why it's called insurance, meaning in case shit. Okay,
yeah.
like COVID.
There's been a lot
perhaps.
of in case lately.
Yeah. Well, there has been.
Yeah.
There's been an extension of that because they're still telling people it's not safe to go outside.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy because if you have a job where you get to work from home and you make millions of dollars working from home, good. Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a weird situation because you're right. That it is statistically true that there are some people making more on unemployment than what they make from their job. But I would suggest to that person, why don't you take care of your people? Right? Amazon.
Well, agreed, especially when we're getting to these big
money.
Corporations. Because here's the thing. Especially going through what we've gone through with COVID, I draw a huge distinction between the Targets, Walmarts, Costco's of the world, and the small business,
the mom and papa joints that are just looking for someone.
I mean, their whole livelihood's wrapped up in that. And guess what? They didn't have a big attorney to go out and get that loan that Walmart got in a hot second.
Right.
So it's the small businessman. And again, going back to the elitist culture, like it's those guys in the middle. And it's the same way with the working class. It's the guys in the middle are getting squeezed. The Walmarts.
I mean, for me, the small business, the question is, what'd you do with the money that the government gave you to stay afloat? Did you keep that? Did you use that to pay your rent?
Right.
Did you use that to pay your employees? No, I don't know.
It's tough out there.
Right? So
there's not one answer, and there's a ton of really difficult problems. Mm-hmm. But
they need to have people what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I think there need to be more people in a room talking about that.
It has to be more.
We will have in order for an expert to come up with an answer, we need people like us to ask the question because the expert's not going to ask themselves.
And the answer is always lies in more than protecting just your own self-interest.
Yeah.
You have to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah. Or just enlist. I mean,
yeah.
Maybe enlist people that into a position of power that can make that happen.
Yeah.
And that sucks. But you're right. It's crazy times, right? I mean, I couldn't even sing karaoke for a year, right?
No.
Right. That host, he wasn't making money.
Nope.
Right? That's a good decent living for some people that do that 4 nights a week. That's their living. That's how they pay their rent.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's nobody that hasn't been.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem where we need to fix. This is where I think, and I guess we could wrap it up, and you can finish. We need to be very careful moral aptitude and what hardworking is. All right, there is a political party, and I'll say the political party, the Republicans, right? The value of hard work builds character, you know, and this and that. So people feel like there's this lie that people are rich because they deserved it and they worked hard for it, which is just as much true as it isn't. Sometimes you get a break, sometimes you're born into it, and sometimes you built something from scratch and you become what we become today. So what happens in the level of thinking, if you're rich, you deserve it. You deserve it because you worked hard, and if you work hard, you're more moral. You have higher morals than the next person. So if you see someone that's poor, right, it's because they didn't work hard enough. And if they didn't work hard enough, they're less moral. They're less of a human being. And for those people who are out there making just enough money to be broke, Wendy, they're tired of the bullshit. There's a guy doing a double shift on security. He's bouncing at night. He's doing security during the day. He makes just enough to be broke. And do you think that man wants to listen to a TV station and say, well, that guy's not as rich as me because he doesn't work hard enough? I understand the concept of working hard, and I understand the concept of working smart, all right? And you know I'm not a bleeding heart socialist, okay? Right. I believe in social democracy. I believe in giving everyone a fair chance to get to that. But you can't call things capitalism when everything is not set across the board, right? It's this person's already his starting block for the 100-meter dash is 50 meters, right? This one is 125, and I'm thinking of specific people in my head when I say security job or when I say this job. There's a group of people that have decided that person doesn't deserve to make more money. That person that I'm talking about is not asking to be a millionaire. They're not asking. Oh my God, I'm sorry. They're not asking to live in a mansion. They're just asking to not make enough money, just enough money to be broke. And I think when everyone makes this assertion, the answer's in the middle. Some people call that lazy, but I think it gets a bad rap. That person doing double shifts just wants to make enough to support himself and if he has a family or whatever, okay, there's a bunch of people that decided that talking about money, they deserve to make millions and millions of dollars.
Society rewards certain things.
There's no moral aptitude. But I'm not talking about reward. I'm talking about the skewing of said reward. What the hell makes someone make 10 million instead of 5 million because they get to talk about this? They do. That there's that elite class that makes up those rules, you know. And for that other person, it's like, you want more money. You're replaceable, right? And they put themselves in a position where like, only we can do this. We're not replaceable, you know. And if they only knew, and if these people only knew how easily replaceable those people were, that's where the news comes in. They're trying to avoid a political revolution. They're trying to avoid a social revolution, because sooner or later, those people that are busting their ass fighting over the one cookie are going to realize someone has 19 and and making them fight over the one cookie.
Yeah. Well, and I'm always so much more interested in psychology than politics, to be honest with you, when it comes down to it. And what you're talking about is, Maslow's hierarchy. Like, people need to, when their basic needs are met, then that's when we start to get to the next levels in life, and we get to really experience what it's like to grow and change and have a growth process. If you're stuck and you're not safe and secure and you can't put a roof over your head and food on your table, forget about self-actualization and growth. Like, learning the value of hard work, like, you have to, there is a level that if you don't have that, you cannot grow past. Right?
I'm not even talking about difficulty of position, Wendy.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, we are like, okay, I got some money put away for a rainy day. There's some things I'm going to pay someone to do because I don't want to do it. All right?
So my question...
Now, bagging groceries, whatever. Oh, it's the easiest thing in the world. How hard could it be? Let that person who makes all that money do that shit for 10 hours.
Yeah.
All right? And he's like, I'm not going to make him rich, a millionaire, but he deserves a little bit more than that.
So what taught you, or what motivated you to put that money away? Or did someone do it for you?
What motivated me was 2008 happened.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated college. I was doing theater. My mind never felt. I was still a check to check guy, but there was this concession that, all right, this is how it's going to be for a little while. I'll exist through it. But when 2008 hit, I took a head coaching job at City College to go with my day job. So I started working 2 jobs, and every single penny that I got from coaching college, and I coached college for 12 years. And 12 as a head coach.
Okay.
And I put every single penny of that away because it was money. I never had extra money before. It was just, it was always the extra job. And it's just the one job alone was exhausting enough. I never really wanted a second job. The second job I had was refereeing. I would referee 2 nights a week, New York Urban. And that made enough if I wanted something extra. That paid for my extras. None of it had to do with saving.
Well,
one paid for my rent, one paid for my extras. But when I started getting a second job where I'm like,
and
I could put that in the bank.
the cool thing that I hear about, and this is a testament to your intelligence or drive, but you also found the jobs in the area where your passion lied.
Right.
Right.
Shit, I was lucky.
So part of it's luck.
Yeah.
And part of it is you're a pretty tenacious guy. You went out and found that.
Yeah.
So finding that line of where it all can come together for a person, all I look at from my point of view is how can I be that person that could be any part of somebody else's story that's giving them a leg up. Because everything else feels so big and like almost impossible to solve. That all I'm looking for every day is how to connect with another person, and can I be part of the better part of your story?
Yeah.
But
that there are people out there, like, it seems normal that they're living check to check, and when I say check to check, they're making just enough money to be broke. Okay, they get their money, let's say whatever monthly earnings. That's my rent. That's my electric bill. That's my gas. Okay, I have about $60 a week to spend. Without transportation and this and that. They have a medical emergency. They're effed.
Yeah.
They have a car they have car trouble.
Right.
It alters their life.
Yeah.
And now they'll be if they use a credit card, they do that, they're in debt, and now they'll be paying a certain APR. They'll be paying
21%.
They'll be paying the elite class more money to have the right to be broke.
Yeah.
And
to live with a significant amount of stress.
And I'm telling you, those arrogant pricks out there that say that they have that coming, that they should have a better job. No. I said this y'all kiss my ass.
You're just speaking to that elitist culture that I'm talking about. Like I said, I don't care what your political party is. If you're elitist, I'm over it. I'm
over the behavior.
Yes.
All right. There are people out there that are wealthy that are like, I want to do something good. I mean, look, this country is designed for you to write off stuff to do the right thing. Yeah. This is why in the 60s and 50s, there was an 80% tax. So it got as high as 90. If you made over a certain amount, they would tax 80%. For example, I don't know the number, but I'll give you an example. If you made $1 million, and if you made $1 million, anything you make over $1 million. So let's say you make an extra $100,000, they tax 80% of the $100,000. And this country did fine. Do you know why? Because the write-off system, there were loopholes around it that if you invested in American products, you were able to keep that money on your return. Also, you invested in the economy, and now the economy becomes richer and it becomes more stimulated. And now, this guy who's like a mechanic. Not only his wife doesn't have to work, but there's a reason why the system of the working Joe back then was able to support a wife, a child, and have a house and a car.
Yeah.
All right. There was a time where you can wait tables and put yourself through college. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And I think we have people in office who they're just doing a money grab. Look, they spent more money for a position than what the position pays. So that already makes me skeptical. All right. There's only a handful of guys that make more money making the job than what the job pays. Yeah. But then there's some people that think they're doing the right thing because they only remember their story. Yeah. Like Mitch McConnell, right? Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, you could wait tables back in the day and put yourself through college. Do you know how much college costs right now? Do you know how much healthcare costs? No, their healthcare. I mean,
Everything. No,
look, government insurance is the best healthcare you could ever do.
What they are living in is not anything like
it was either
it
never was, but it was or it was so obsolete.
Yeah.
You know, Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, you got to wait yourself to wait through tables, and I think she ended up going to Washington University, which to me, like this whole thing about lying to try to get into Harvard, I'm like, it made me laugh because she didn't get in anywhere. I'm just like, what do you? If she did that and she got into Harvard, it'd be different. She ended up going to like Washington, some university there, and I'm just like bugging out. But there needs to be enough bodies, one, that are not taking the money and running.
Yeah.
And two, their inherent beliefs aren't too extreme. That they're out of contact.
Yeah.
With us as a population. I thought about running for something. You know?
Every time I write someone says, "All right," like if I write something political, you should run for office. Yeah, no.
Yeah. No, your dad did. Your dad.
I grew up in politics. That's why I have I have a lot of beliefs. My head turns on this stuff a lot. But like I said, I've gone more to the human side of the story because I do feel like the power structure is so broken that I don't know how to get through to it. So you can always get through to a person. You can cut through with the story.
So someone asked me who I look up to, right? And I told them Jesse Ventura, and they're like, okay, that's weird. Out of all of these great minds, Abraham Lincoln and this and that, you choose this guy. But this is a guy with only a year of college, right? Frogman, which is now Navy SEALs, right? Mm-hmm. Is a bodyguard for the rock band Anthrax. Became like a wrestler heel, like a bad guy, and decided to use his platform to do something that he felt was the right thing. Like he didn't like what was going on in Brooklyn, Minnesota, and he ran for mayor and he won. He didn't like what was going on in I guess he ran for governor. He polled at like 9%, which got him in the debates. Yeah. Ran his campaign on $300,000, $325,000.
Commendable.
All $20 handouts. So no super PACs, no leadership PACs. We have a few minutes left, but we have to talk about we have to educate people on leadership PACs. What we talked about before in the car. Of course, I look up to this guy. This guy, it wasn't handed to him. He wasn't rich. You know what I'm saying? His father served. He served. He made something of himself, and he decided to find the best way he knew how to give back. Ran for office. Built a rail line. Had a budget surplus his first 3 years as governor. His last year he didn't because he got 2/3. He vetoed a proposal, and then the Democrats and Republicans 2/3 them, and that's when they wound up with a deficit. And then he was like, "All right, I'm out." I did my part. I'm old. I want to spend some time with my wife. I spent half the year in Mexico. Yeah, I look up to that guy. Yeah. I'm not saying there's no one else. I'm just saying at that time that was the first guy that popped up in my head. Yeah. And teaches political science at Harvard, by the way. So.
Oh, does he really?
Or at least for 2 years he has.
Okay.
I don't think he still does that.
Fascinating.
But that's a guy they cancel quick. You don't need a guy.
Well, because he's going to say what he's going to say, and a lot of people aren't going to like it. Yes. And so the powers that be do cancel you.
Yeah, of course, right? Well, he's become old and senile too, but I still trust that because I trust an old and senile person that tells the truth. Remember the old saying?
That the truth always comes out?
No, you just don't have to have a good memory. That was his saying. Yeah. If you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
Isn't that the truth? That is absolutely the truth.
Yeah. So
you don't have to remember what you had to say.
No, but he's one of the guys I looked up to. But educated. Before we go, we want to talk about something else. There was this thing where we were discussing in the car. Mm-hmm. When someone runs for political office, when the election's over, where does that money go?
Yeah, you educated me on this.
Yeah. So for the people listening at home, there's under the regular law right now, there's three things that happen to your money. One, it's put in escrow, or not in escrow, but put away in some account for a future run. Right. That's one way.
Yes, I did know that.
Two, it can get filtered to support someone in a political party. Mm-hmm. And three, it can be refunded to whatever's left over can be refunded to the people who contributed. So those are the three major ways. There are other ways. But there was something passed by Congress called the Leadership PAC. And the Leadership PAC doesn't fall into the bounds of regular campaign contributions that allow the person running for office to pocket the money. Mm-hmm. Let that swirl in your heads. I don't need to repeat that. Everybody heard what I said.
Yeah.
There is a loophole that was passed by Congress that allows politicians to pocket your money. It's called a leadership PAC, and I'm not sure about the how it came into play, who voted it, what year. I mean, maybe y'all do some research on that. But
there doesn't seem there's nothing right about that.
No, but and this is why he gets canceled. He actually did that, and he had a YouTube video. On YouTube, look up where does Jesse Ventura, where does our campaign money go? Just look that up. And not only does he has a co-host that walks you through it. They show pictures and they show sites, like government sites where what the year the legislation was passed and this and that. But it is disgusting.
Yeah.
It is disgusting that you spend all this money getting a job that where you don't even make an iota of that.
Yeah.
War is a racket.
Right. But it also
politics is a racket.
Politics is a racket, and there's a lifestyle that goes with it that is paid for by the taxpayers. That also, so whatever is getting deposited into your bank account, there's an entire lifestyle that goes with it that is taxpayer funded, that is on top of that, and that to me. Like, I'd rather just have it be the average Joe. We have turned it into this, like, their royalty, and they have all of this extra. Well,
they're also allowed. They also passed a law where they're allowed to collect a pension after they retire and still do political work. So, not take political office, but they're still allowed to have a job.
Yeah.
And this just, it's a sad world.
I mean, again, it goes back to the elitist attitude that we are somehow different than the people that are representing us, and we elect them, right? So that idea that I want the people who are representing me to be more like me, and I've never missed an election.
You're right.
I've never not voted. Yeah. But there is a feeling in me that is like, doesn't really matter.
There was one election I didn't vote for president.
Okay.
I've always made it in my mind to vote because I believe that collective change starts at the local level.
Yeah.
It starts, and at our
Agreed.
local level, I mean, Napolitano, I voted for him. He's a Republican. Kamala Harris, I did not vote for, but I decided to. If my vote counts, it's going to count here, there, and there. But Hillary and Trump, I couldn't. I couldn't do it.
I mean, honestly, I
couldn't do it.
I will go back to every time I see the 17 people on the stage when the first Republican debate that Trump made. And we had 17 people on that stage. And you were like, how did we end up here? Yeah. And that's my honest thinking, because if the guy would have had an ounce of empathy for anybody, but
he would have won by a landslide.
Exactly. If he could have shown one person that he actually cared about their existence, he would have won. And I'm not saying...
Between that and COVID, it wouldn't have even been close. No. In fact, I believe the Democrats propped up Biden to lose, to use him as an excuse. Because they had more brilliant minds than him. In fact, a year...
For sure.
For my Democratic Party friends, listen before we wrap this up. A year ago, you guys... a year ago, before he became president, that November, a year ago, you guys were saying he should pull out. He is mentally gone. He should withdraw from the race. It's bad for politics to have him there. He can't even remember this, remember that. All of my friends on the left were saying that 12 months before this man, before they elected this man president. So don't tell me that they were playing to win. They were only playing to win because they knew that he had thicker skin in debates, and he knew he wouldn't get. You're looking for someone that Trump can't bully. You know what I'm saying? And there's only a handful of people Trump couldn't bully. Buttigieg, but nobody's. I mean, even the Democrats aren't ready for a gay president. I mean, they're just morons. All right, and so are the Republicans. Tulsi Gabbard. Absolutely uncontrollable. No way. This one voted present. But that's someone that Trump can't bully, because you can't. If you mess with, this is a girl that's training with Navy SEALs. You cannot physically or mentally bully her.
No, but the internal party structure.
Right.
The DNC, the internal party structure, the RNC, they're not going to go for those rogue candidates. No. Those type of people that will speak their mind and they don't feel like they have control of that person, watch, they never make it. They never make it. It's always the insider that gets there.
In fact, the Democratic Party
yeah.
has something called superdelegates.
Yes.
Superdelegates are specifically designed to help prevent
Elitist.
grassroots campaigns.
Exactly.
So it's so comical for like both parties to call the other party, oh, that's the party of the elite. No, that's the party of the elite. I'm
No,
just like,
they're existing on both sides, and it's disgusting.
cracking me up. Well, I guess what I was saying before was they got their guy because they knew Biden wouldn't be bullied in the debates. You know, he might be talked over a little bit, but you'll hear him say something like, yeah, it's hard to get a word in with this clown, you know, whatever. And he did say that, actually, word for word. Warren would call him a bully and whatever and this and that, but it sounds too much like a victim, and nobody's going to vote for a victim,
Right.
even if the person playing the victim's right.
Right.
So Klobuchar, no, wasn't a girl either. So I mean, you did have some bright minds. They just needed the strength and fortitude to endure this man, which is why they waited so long. They knew the sooner they picked a nominee, they knew the more chunk out of your behind Trump was going to try to take a bite out of. So waiting longer.
Yeah.
And this fake infighting. Oh, Bernie, why don't you withdraw? No, it's all part of the rib. Take as long as you can. So he doesn't have someone to pick at,
Right.
and that's it. But what they didn't count on, and maybe it was win-win for them, because if they lose, they lost because they put up someone who was never a winner anyway, right? Biden ran a bunch of times, he's going to lose, so that's win-win. If he wins somehow, if America decides that this man coming into November on a dementia drumstick is still better than that fucking moron,
Yeah.
7 million people think the same way, then so it's win-win, because it's someone. I'm not calling Biden a puppet, but I am. It's someone that they can pull the strings in the back. You know, there's also a part of me, and I think you agree with me. 2024 is coming up, and do you even see him making it?
I mean,
Do you
like
see
I
Biden?
say, I do not
honest
leave-
question. We're both we don't owe anybody shit here.
No.
Do you see him making it to 2024?
I don't see somebody that has any amount of fire or his own internal compass that's coming out in the news. You don't even see him in the news.
I'm not even talking about losing the election.
It's a still screen.
But Wendy, you understand my question,
Yeah,
right? I'm not talking about going to the election and losing.
Yeah,
Do you see him making it? I don't see him making
terrible
it.
saying that about somebody.
Me too.
But no, I agree.
But
that's a still screen. You don't see the man. We haven't had a press conference. Like, you don't see him speaking to the world. Think about all the presidents we have known through our entire life. What have we seen since he was elected? A still screen, a picture of him, 80 to 90% of the time. Like, that's not right. Something's off.
no,
Something's off.
something's off. Look, the Biden I saw that debated Paul Ryan, that was laughing, that looked like he was smacking him on the back of the head. Now.
Yeah.
That's what it felt
Yeah.
like. That was the Biden that I would have, and I ended up voting for him anyway. Again, I was one of those people that decided that this guy, the shell of him was still better than what Trump was going to do, because I thought Trump was 2 years away from sending us back to the Middle Ages. I just didn't. It was crazy, you know. I thought he's done some little good things, apolitically.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes your intelligence agencies are trying to get you into a war, and he's like, no, I need more evidence before I tell the American people. So keeping us out of these regime-changing wars for 4 years, he's got he would have had my vote on that.
Yeah.
He definitely, I don't believe in spending all this money, right? How's that for unity, right? When it comes to spending money, they're sending us to war, right? But coming back, taking care of our veterans, right? Where's the money going to come from? Where's the money going to come from? So we're just all over. I'm just all over the place right now, dude.
I know.
It's episode 100.
We're letting Jason talk, and this is what we talked about in hours and hours of car rides, and like, we've been around the block on these topics, and yet
Wendy Jones, my travel wife.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered some good topics, but we are where we are. And I'm still more interested in the Olympics than what Washington, D.C. is doing these days. But
no, I love me some China, the Olympics. I love me some Russia for the Olympics, right? I love me some Korea. I love, the ROC. Is that what they're called? What does that stand for again?
Russian Olympic Committee.
Okay.
You want to talk about a loophole?
Yeah. Why should the athletes suffer because their people are morons, right?
Right.
I mean,
No,
right?
But
At the end of the day, isn't athletics supposed to take all our differences and then just either celebrate them or put them aside, right? In competition,
which has been part of the hardest thing about this Olympics. So if we were going to blend the two topics that we've just talked about, you're taking everything that's gone on in the world, the postponing of the Olympics, starting the Olympics, the type of Olympics that are going on without fans and families there, athletes being tossed out on positive test and a negative test and like all of the different things that COVID has brought to these games. It's still going off, and I'm so happy that it's going on because the world needed it. And my hat's off to these athletes for handling the pressure and the stress and the what they've gone through to get there.
Yeah,
because
big up to
COVID has politicized the Olympics
100%, and big up to the NBA.
Yeah.
Big up to the NBA for showing people a year before.
Yeah.
Like if you can build a bubble out of Disneyland, you can create a bubble in the Olympic Village. The Olympic Village is really, if you don't let anybody in or out, it's a lot easier to make a bubble. So very, very happy that they found a way to do that too, and we got our Olympics and sports really does save all, because I don't want to be watching
It really
horse.
does.
I don't want to be watching
if the Olympics aren't on, my TV is not on. Yeah. So
horse. Yeah. Oh my God. So that's it, huh?
I mean, we've covered it.
All right. We got about 2 minutes before I actually have to change a file.
Oh, no.
Tell people your site, Optimist Journal.
All right. So I read a blog.
Poor girl didn't get to talk as much.
I read a blog called The Optimist Journal. I am a massive volleyball fan, the mother of 4. And I just really believe in learning from everybody's stories. And I try to connect parents, coaches, and athletes and create a better world through, inclusivity and understanding each other and just having open ears and not being mean and all the things that Jason and I have talked about. So, look in someone's eyes and smile and tell your story. Make the world a better place. So you can find me on Instagram, Wendy Jones _the Optimist. And at theoptimistjournal.com. And I have a really big project coming. I keep telling you this, but I keep building. And I just want to help people be better through volleyball and the game of life. So,
dude, Wendy, I can't wait.
Thank you.
Cool, man. Hey, Wendy might love all you people, but I can't stand you, okay? This is episode 100. I'm surprised we reached triple digits. Come on.
I'm not.
Hey, so for everybody at home, for everybody on their iPhones, for everybody on their iPad, for everyone on their Droid, for everyone on their desktop. This is Wendy Jones. I'm Jason DeBillius. This is episode 100. The clock is ticking. We love y'all. We're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.